reaction to all of the night's action. You're tuned in to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Patrick Meagher, Dustin Swedelson, VSiN Live.
VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio, as we say hi, 68 down to 16, of course, NCAA tournament. We'll get to that in just a bit. I'm Patrick Meagher, live from Los Angeles. We say hi, 888 Mad Dog 6, 888-623-3646. We got Naya, New York City. We've got Ryan, Las Vegas, and we also have the big guy, Dustin Swedelson, at the SiriusXM studios at the Win, which I'm jealous because he's got the squad. Brian, who can be scary. Antoine, he'll let you down. John, he's back. Jeremiah, he's a better. We know that. He likes to get down. He's a bit of a degenerate, let's be honest. But the big guy hanging out, you can see him on YouTube at VSiN Live, of course, and we're involved in the chat over there. So let's get it popping. Dustin Swedelson, he hasn't been to Turkey yet, but his hair does look nice. As he's got the gear on, he's ready to go. What's cracking?
Oh, just sitting here waiting for an upset to happen that matters in the NCAA tournament. Just waiting for a little juice, waiting for a little excitement, waiting for some bets to cash, most importantly. That is the biggest issue that's happening right now. Things are not going well right over here.
Okay, big guy. Off to a good start. Yeah, the big guy, the upset would be that hair is puffy, looks full, looks good. Shorty would be happy with it. Yeah, I mean, listen, this tournament this year has been a disaster, if we're going to be completely honest. Sweet 16 to set. 14 teams from the SEC, Dustin, got in. 7 remain, which is a record. Back in 2016, the ACC had 6 left in the Sweet 16. So the SEC, we can get to the macro picture as far as what all this means as far as NILs. I've seen a lot of people, a lot of detectives, a lot of Columbos. A lot of theories as to what this means. It might just mean that the better teams have won this year, and it's caused no drama across the tournament. Of course, you've got the Big 12 with 4 teams repping, the Big 10 with 4 teams repping, and the ACC with 1. Again, teams, as far as seeding 1 through 4, big guy, have won by an average of 23 points this tournament, so it hasn't left a lot outside of Maryland and Colorado State. Now, I may have had more than $999 on the Colorado State money line, and I may have had less than $1,001 on the Colorado State money line with the buzzer beater and the travel with the loss from the chubby 19-year-old. Your boy was devastated here in Hermosa Beach, California. That's the one game that mattered, and it screwed me bunghole style, and that's the big guy's fault because the big guy now flexing because he's a big deal at the Win Studios didn't even care that his boy got leveled with the Rams.
There is no worse way to go out than not just on a buzzer beater, but on a buzzer beater that wasn't supposed to happen because there's a travel. Somehow your killer, the guy who sniped you, is a 19-year-old with braces. I don't know how that makes you feel, but you got beaten down by a guy who took 1,200 steps on his way to a final shot to knock off Colorado State.
Yeah, listen, I'll give you a few themes as we head towards the tournament. We've got plenty to do on the program today. We've got Jim Root stopping by, of course, talking college hoops. Metler is going to get you caught up with what happened in the NBA. Because if you watched an NBA game this weekend, you're drunk, like the big guy over at Circa Sports, okay? It's just not going to happen. The draft is starting to catch some steam. We've got coaches. We got a new coach in Minnesota, a new coach in Iowa, a new coach in Texas. We'll get to those coming up in just a little bit. But I'll give you a few themes. One, as far as familiarity, and I know Steve Torrey right before us here on Mad Dog Sports Radio, I know he is a little downtrodden as well. We were texting over the weekend, zippy juice in the tournament because you've got Duke, Florida, and Houston. We're familiar with them. I guess one of the themes would be the Zags, Sweet 16. 9 straight as far as a streak was snapped, and they did mount a comeback in the second half against Houston, but fell short 81-76. You know, there's a return for the second time ever for Ole Miss. BYU is back in the Sweet 16 for the first time in a long-ass time. I mean, they are 27 years old with multiple wives. Welcome to the party, because they've been partying for a while. without booze.
Yeah. Are they allowed caffeine even? I don't think they're allowed caffeine.
That's a great question. Lack of seeding upsets. 12 Colorado State lost on the buzzer. We talked about it. 10 Arkansas. That's your deepest seed as far as number 10 over St. John's. I'll tell you something else. The coach is not being here. Pitino not being here, that crushes this tournament because that ghoul, and he does look ghoulish. Now, good job by him going to his son's game against Michigan State. They got bounced by Izzo. That's what he does. But Pitino not being in the mix. I'm going to tell you something else. That Arkansas St. John's game stunk. People pretending like there was some action late in that game. No, there wasn't. First off, Pitino was proving a point. I know his best player couldn't make a shot, but you might want to play him because you're about to get bounced. Okay, let's stop with the pride and stop with the fact you know more about basketball than Naismith. We understand it, Pitino, but you have to play your best player. I don't care.
The rest of the team wasn't hitting shots, and I know he wasn't hitting shots, but at least he's the one who got you there. He won Big East Player of the Year. If anyone's going to figure it out, I don't know, maybe it's RJ Lewis, the guy who carried you offensively, because the rest of that lineup, good God, did they miss a million open looks? But you know who the best player in that game was? At least the one that got the most attention? It was the refs. It felt like the refs were involved every single moment down the stretch. Big-time ref show, letting them play too physical at times and interjecting when it mattered the most late. It was a ridiculously officiated game. But John Calipari in Arkansas, that's your little engine that could. They're the 10 seed. They're still alive in the Sweet 16. Little engine that could with a $5 million NIL budget.
Yeah, they got NBA players, Knox and Flan all over the place. They've got more money than God. I will say this is John Calipari's 16th trip to the Sweet 16. Check this out. He's 12-3 straight up and 4-1 straight up as an underdog. So we kill Calipari as far as not being able to coach, but he's done a hell of a job in the Sweet 16. So another theme would be all four number one seeds alive. Auburn's alive, obviously. Duke's alive. Houston's alive, and Florida's alive. And that brings us to another theme. We're going to miss out on hating on Dan Hurley because he is by far the most hateable figure in sports at this point. First off, he's complaining about the refs. I don't know if his team against Florida got a bucket in the last 7 minutes. So if you want to complain about the refs, and the refs stink, people, all right, I don't know what to tell you. They killed me with this straight-up money line bet on Colorado State when the kid walked from Vegas to Hermosa Beach and got a bucket. All right? They killed me. But I'm still not over here complaining, nor am I bitter like Dan Hurley, who's yelling at everybody walking off the court when his team couldn't buy a bucket in a year over the last, 8 minutes of that second half. Zip it, Hurley. But Hurley being out, Pitino being out, it does lose some juice. Let's be honest. This tournament's a disaster. Let's get to Thursday.
It's horrible. We have not had that marquee moment. We waited until yesterday, till Sunday, to have a dramatic buzzer beater. And no offense to Maryland, who I have 85-1 on. You had 3.5-1 on Colorado State to win the game outright. Neither of those teams feel very special. It didn't feel like that big of a moment. If you're going to get a buzzer beater, something dramatic, something late, you want it to be a team that you don't even know what city they're based in, taking on one of the top premier programs in the country. That just didn't have the juice. There's been no crazy stories either. There's been, I don't know, no madness in the March Madness. It's probably an issue in your entire marketing gimmick is that this event is going to be crazy, and it's been nothing but chalk since the thing got started.
Well, it's a good thing for the producers and directors there because one shining moment when this tournament wrapped up is going to be one shining second.
Well, no.
It's going to
I got another complaint. It's going to be players' families in one shining moment. Can we relax with the crowd shots of the players' families when they do something on the floor? I'm okay with
this
one.
This is where Dustin gets weird. This is where he tries to be irreverent.
I'm okay with one. We don't need to keep going back to their families over and over again.
This is your theme. I worked my ass off this morning to come up with legitimate themes, and yours is panning to the crowd.
That's one of the themes. I'm not a fan of watching people's families who I have no connection to cheering on their kids over and over again.
Literally been done ad nauseum for your whole entire life. You pop on because you're flexing and you have a problem with seeing the families. Give me another theme, big guy.
Another theme is sometimes it's time to move on, and it's good for all parties. The reason? John Calipari leaves Kentucky, goes to Arkansas, Sweet 16. Mark Pope leaves BYU to replace him, Sweet 16. BYU, Kevin Young, Sweet 16. Sometimes it's not just about like what they've accomplished recently or what they did in the past. It's sometimes the messaging from the head coach to the program. It just wears thin at a certain point, and you got to start over somewhere else.
I got you. No, you nailed it. Listen. But I'm laughing because you and I both agree it's Mark Pope to Kentucky sucks for Kentucky because I'd rather have the coach at BYU that replaced him.
No, look, I'm not going to argue with you there, but at least he played at Kentucky. You know, they have to have those ties. That's their whole thing.
But he just looks like a tall donk, you know?
Yeah, no, he's just a generic tall white guy.
Still rather have Calvin Sampson. And by the way, Houston has lost in the Sweet 16 as the number 1 seed in each of the last 2 years. But that is Sampson who gets back to a Sweet 16. And Dustin, we talked about it. Gonzaga, they had an opportunity late where they came back late. They shot the ball better. They shot the three better. But guess what Houston and Sampson did? Exactly what you and I discussed with BYU. Would it matter defensively? They got it done. This Houston team is live. I know you got them, 6.5 to 1 somewhere.
Yeah, I think you could still get 5 to 1 on them to win it all, and I'm not understanding why they are being this misvalued. Is misvalued a word? Because it is now.
Yes.
Their path is perfect. You mean to tell me the guy who stands between Houston and the Elite Eight is Matt freaking Painter? That's what I'm supposed to be scared of? Gonzaga was the spot that I was nervous about with that ticket, not Purdue and Matt Painter. And by the way, the backcourt for the Boilermakers are awesome, but this is the time of year where they always come up short. They do not have the intensity. They don't have the defense that Houston's going to offer. Houston is marching its way to the Final Four. It's just a matter of if they can beat Duke at that point.
Yeah, you mentioned Matt Painter. You like this? How them apples? Matt Painter is 2-5 in the Sweet 16. Oh. 4 of his team's 5 losses have come by at least 12 points, and the other loss came to a 15 seed. Ladies and gentlemen, Matt Painter. You think he's going to get it done against Calvin Sampson?
No. And look, and this Kentucky-Tennessee matchup there in the Midwest bracket's kind of interesting, too, just because Kentucky got the better of Tennessee twice this year. And we saw it with St. Mary's in the WCC tournament. They beat Gonzaga twice in the regular season, then lost when it mattered in the tournament. Feels like Tennessee is built better for these kind of tournament events where the defense and that style of play tends to suit these guys better in different sightlines. But I will say this. Kentucky would scare me with their ability to just get hot from beyond the arc.
Yeah, no, you're right. This is from Felica. Kentucky-Tennessee is the second Sweet 16 matchup of SEC teams. The other came in '86 when Kentucky beat Bama. The last meeting of power conference opponents in the Sweet 16, Dustin, 2021 when Pac-12 rivals USC and Oregon met. So this doesn't happen very often.
But this is where conference expansion sucks because that historical tidbit doesn't exist, with the amount of SEC teams that got in this year. I know Tennessee and Kentucky have been in the SEC for a while, but we have so many SEC teams in this, so many Power 4 teams in this. It's kind of skewing what we're used to when it comes to the NCAA tournament. Like even last night, I don't know about you, I was having trouble wrapping my head around the fact that Oregon and Arizona wasn't a Pac-12 in-conference game. I kept having to remind myself, no, it's Big 12 versus Big 10 happening right now.
Yeah, it is so confusing. I'm looking through the games. You mentioned the Oregon-Arizona game, 87-83. You're watching it. It didn't feel that great. Michigan State, New Mexico, 71-73. State covers the 6.5. Mississippi, Iowa State, we knew without the point guard, Iowa State was going to be stink, and they do. Mississippi stinks. Mississippi's been to 2 Sweet 16s in their career in that franchise history. This Mississippi team, I know people want to jock it. Get the hell out of here.
No, Chris Beard's an awesome coach. Horrible person off the court. Great coach. Not a good person.
Not a
it's
good
public
dude.
Record. It doesn't matter in college basketball. You could be the worst person on the planet. You get another head coaching job. It's just how it goes. But Chris Beard, his teams are really prepared for the games. They play good defense. But good God, could we run a set on offense one time? Could we run a pick and roll? Can someone just set a screen and run? They have no offensive game plan. They just happen to run into an Iowa State team that ran out of gas at the wrong time.
Chris Beard knows domestic violence. He does not know how to draw off an offensive play.
He is not someone you want dating a member of your family. That's all.
Don't one-up me, but mine was fine, dude. Chill. It's okay. It's called teamwork, bro. Look it up. The big guy was done. The big guy. Listen, 888-623-3646. No buzz. Zippy buzz. Zippy buzz. And I'll tell you something else who was down bad yesterday. The big guy, he can bet. So I had to run some errands yesterday. I was in Vegas. I got back. I was tired. I hit up the big guy. I said, I need a play in this late window. And you know what that means, bettors. It means you haven't had a chance to study the board, but you still need action. The Jeremiah over there hanging out with Brian's cranky ass knows exactly what I'm talking. Antoine, listen, I just needed a play. Dustin, and this is word is born. This is from God's lips to your ears. He said, I've been getting killed in college hoops. He gave me an NBA player prop for a player I've never heard of. Not playing that.
Did you see what happened with it?
No, I didn't play it. Why would I care?
Okay. It was Yabusele.
Don't go too deep into this.
Yabusele, over 21.5 points, rebounds, and assists. He missed 2 of 4 free throws down the stretch. It missed by a point.
Well, I didn't play.
I'm happy you didn't
play
it.
The fact that you lost, no offense, but I didn't care. And here's exactly for the late window. What I needed is Steve Torrey. Now Steve Torrey's going to be happy because Alabama advances. Your boy Nate Oates. But I specifically know that Dustin had St. Mary's in the Final Four. So if anybody was going to have a read on Bama laying 6.5, which they covered easily, if anybody was going to have a read on Bama St. Mary's, it was going to be the big guy. He literally ghosted me. He didn't have a play. He was getting gun shy. It was ugly all the way around. It was a massacre.
Well, look, I realized I was wrong when you see how athletic Alabama is and you're hyping up a team that's all white guys. It was all white guys on the floor for St. Mary's who couldn't buy a freaking bucket. Good God. They're 23 years old. They're from like New Zealand and all these random countries, and they couldn't score a single shot against Alabama's janky-ass defense. Alabama would come down the floor in about 4 seconds, get a shot up, make it. St. Mary's would come down the other way, take the entire shot clock, work so hard to get one shot off, and miss it by a mile. That was one of the ugliest games, one of the worst calls of all time by my boy, by me, and I don't want to give my boy a bad bet there.
Well, thank you for your reticence. Not trying to tell you how to fill out your bracket, but the next time you put a team in the Final Four, you might want to hope they have some brothers on the team and not all Caucasians. so you might want to Google what the team consists of before you put them in the Final Four and flex all over everybody like you're some crazy better.
The assumption would be that the white guys could shoot threes because that's what they're stereotypically supposed to do in that spot. Unfortunately, right. Randy Bennett's group of white guys, they don't shoot threes. I don't know what they do well if they can't do that.
Yeah, you're right. No, Steph's white. So the point is, as we bring this first segment to a close, the big guy got crushed. You know, I'm over here betting Canada, United States, and CONCACAF League. We did go over 2.5, so we did pick up a fatty. The big guy, he's over here trying to bet on Jan Vasily. All right. That lets you know how his tournament goes. If you go over to VSiN.com/picks, you're not going to find him near the top of the list because. Here's the problem. And bettors know this. And Steve Torrey betting the $23.36. He knows it as well because whether you're betting $23.36 or $1,000 on Colorado State at plus 350, it doesn't matter. And I'm not bitter. But here's what you know: when you start taking L's, you start to get gun shy. When you start taking L's, you start to get gun shy. And what was voluminous when you're just throwing bets up over at VSiN.com/picks, and all of a sudden you start backing off at just random NBA player props, that's when you know you're down bad. That's the big guy, but that's the theme of the tournament, big guy.
Oh, no. Don't get it twisted. The picks were up at VSiN.com/picks, but I'm going to look at their grades right now. Green is good. Red is bad. It's nothing but red by my name right now. I'm waiting for Black Friday to get out of this hole.
Should have been waiting for Black Friday for your Final Four teams.
Oh, good call. Good plan. St. Mary's in the Final Four. One of my all-timers.
Listen, I feel like when was it UMCB when they beat Virginia? That was like 17, 18,
I think.
All right. All I know is we were live in Vegas we were on the air during that upset. But that was a 16-over-1. And correct me if I'm wrong. Literally every game before that and every game the rest of the night had some crazy ending. We just went through a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday and got one chubby 19-year-old that walked his way to a buzzer beater. I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer here, but this is where we're at, people.
No, and by the time it happened, we were all kind of ready to move on to the next round. We knew that Cinderella wasn't happening. We knew that Miracle Run wasn't coming from a team. Like, Drake was the team that we were all kind of hoping would do it at this point. They didn't come through. The whole world was on San Diego, including myself on Thursday. They got screwed in the end against Michigan. It's just all the big programs are advancing. This isn't fun. This isn't what this event's about. I want the little guy to have a chance. The little guy's dying right in front of our eyes, and it's because of the transfer portal. It's because of NIL, and it's because of NCAA greed. They killed their own event.
So you asked a good question today. We'll come back. Here's what we're going to do. 888-MAD-DOG-6, 888-623-3646. You know, many of you would think the way that I approached the first 23 minutes with the big guy was beating a man while he's down. No. That was a pick-me-up, all right? That was a way of saying, because if he does too well and you jock him, he goes into an absolute spiral. That was my way of saying, get your ass up, dust yourself off, and let's get back to business.
No.
If you've got a Jan Vesely freaking player prop for me tonight, let's rock. But next time I ask you on an NCAA tournament Sunday, you better give me St. Mary's Bama. All right? That's number one. Number two, when we return, we're going to tell you because 3 head coaching positions got filled today. Number 3, when we return, Dustin asked this question, and this is where he redeems himself. We watched the 4 days to start the NCAA tournament, and it was disastrous. One, why? And what's worse right now? College football or college basketball? That was a good question by the big guy because as soon I thought about that, and I'm like, I have an easy answer. And I'm not going recency effect on your asses, but I do have an easy answer as to which one is worse. College football, college basketball. Because one thing we could admit, the landscape has changed. This ain't your mama's college sports anymore. As a matter of fact, the chubby 19-year-old, what's his name there? Derek Queen, who's going to be an NBA player. I shouldn't keep calling him chubby. He's just got a little body fat. That 19-year-old,
he's not done with puberty yet.
They asked him after the game, hey, what do you like about Kevin Willard? You know, the Maryland head coach. He said, quote, he got me that bag.
Spot the lie. Spot the lie. You pay me, I'll be loyal and nice to you forever.
You think college sports are the same? Oh, I don't know. He's got our backs. He treats me well. He's a good in-game decision maker. He got me that bag. Coaches aren't coaching anymore. They're bag deliverers. Hey, you got to give him more money for the honesty. But when all of a sudden college coaches are getting props because they, quote, got me that bag, college sports are in a bad way.
People don't want to hear this. Everything was better when all these guys were doing it illegally under the table. All these kids were getting paid in the past, but it was a lot more fun when it was secretive, when we didn't know about it, and it felt like there was a purity on the surface. Now that it's all out in the open, I think it hurts everything.
I'll tell you, I miss 2 people that I never thought I'd miss. Tim Tebow and Jesus Christ.
Well, you can find the latter any point you want. Tim Tebow's harder to track down.
I know for a fact I'm going to eventually meet the latter. I hope. Unless I keep gambling $1,000 on plus 350 money lines.
Colorado State.
88 Mad Dog 6. Hey, I'm punch drunk, man. And it's not because I enjoyed that weekend. 888 Mad Dog 6, 888-623-3646. So what is wrong? I like the fact that Dustin just discovered his Final Four team was all white dudes. That's rich, you know. We are sports experts, people. So why did that weekend happen? Why did the Thursday and Friday happen? Why was every game legitimately a dud? And then the big guy with the question. which one's in worse shape? Is it college hoops or is it college football? You can find us at VSiN Live. We're in the chat. Stop by and say hello on YouTube. Of course, the game capsules are up there as well. We've got everything going down at VSiN.com, and you can find us on the phones, 888-MAD-DOG-6, 888-623-3646. VSiN, with the big VSiN Live. It's Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio, as we welcome you back on a Monday. We're picking up the pieces. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday of the NCAA tournament. We're 68 down to 16. Of course, Naya back in New York City. We got the crew, Dustin Swedelson, hanging out at the SiriusXM studios, Wynn Las Vegas, with the squad. He's going to be there Monday and Tuesdays, of course. A big smile on his goofy face. Hey, you know what I was thinking, too? As I drove back from Vegas woke up at 6 a.m., my ass was on fire to get the hell out of there. Drove back from Vegas to Los Angeles on Saturday. You know, there's a lot of conversation about deportation in the United States these days. Have them hop in the whip with me and see what the country looks like.
Oh, beautiful country between here and Los Angeles.
The drive from Vegas to Los Angeles will have people climbing the border. You understand what I'm saying? They will get the hell out of Dodge. This is what the buzz is about?
It's not exactly the hype machine that America gets, is that in between Vegas to LA spot where there's nothing but mountains and desert for absolute hundreds of miles. But the question is, how quickly were you able to get to a ZiN on Friday night? Because you were going through it.
Yeah, I was going through. We had issues with Jeezy the dog. We had issues with no nicotine. There was a lot going on Friday night. But your boy rallied, pulled it together. It was Nolan Richardson was in my back pocket with the 40 minutes of hell there. But listen, this isn't your Nolan Richardson days. This isn't college basketball or college football of old. NIL has certainly shifted things. You could be smarter. 888 Mad Dog 6, 888-623-3646, and tell me why or how, because I know people are coming up with their theories about NIL changing the landscape, and that's the reason these games were non-competitive. Of course, you've got all the power conferences, 7 teams from the SEC, 4 teams from the Big 12, 4 from the Big 10, and 1 from the ACC. I don't know. Listen, there were NIL deals last year, and Oakland University got a win in the tournament over Kentucky with Jack Golke firing threes. So maybe this is just an anomaly this year. Maybe that's the answer.
Yeah, I mean, let's go to one side of the argument, the college football side of things. College football's issue is that it's built on rivalries, and it's built on elite quarterback play who are Heisman contenders. And in today's world of college football, with all the transfer portal and the NIL, a lot of these rivalries are dying because teams are going to different leagues and the rivals aren't going with them. And then second, we have programs that they build everything up and they're just a quarterback away. So what do? They go buy the best quarterback on the market to come play for their program for 1 year. You don't have that rise, that slope to college football right now. And then for college basketball, its biggest problem, it's always been a 1-month sport. Nobody cares about November, December, January, and February, but March is when we're locked into college basketball. So this event has always carried the torch. It's made you think you're a college basketball fan, a college basketball expert, but you're not. You only care about it for 1 month out of the year. And if this event, March Madness, is not going to have upsets, well, then I'll tell you this, college basketball might be in a worse place than college football right now.
All right, well, my answer is easy because you asked, and we asked the question, 888-623-3646. What sport is in worse shape, college hoops or college football? It's easy for me. My favorite sport used to be college football. I hate college football. So if I just kind of look at the scale, like all it takes is Riley Leonard going to Notre Dame and they're in the Final Four. You understand? That is literally just about who's going to get the quarterback to transfer. Quarterbacks are playing on 10 different teams. That sport is completely ruined. I do think this is anomalous this year with just a non-competitive tournament thus far. We still have plenty of games to go. So I'll stay in my shoes about college hoops. But I do believe that college football is in worse shape. Let's take a few calls and get some answers here. 888-623-3646. Again, you can follow us on Twitter at VSiN Live. Jump in the chat as well. Maybe you can give us an answer there. The big guy will relay your answers from the chat on YouTube. Okay? Let's go to Vegas and say hi to our buddy Craig. Hey, Craig.
Hey, what's up, guys? Sorry I missed you this week. I don't have the right cologne to go and get into the win.
Yeah, you should have came by, dude. Where were you? We were at the win the whole time, circa. Come on, Craig.
I know. Next time. It was just we got to the point and just things got out of control. We had the whole table on GCU first to 15 up 7-2, and then 10 minutes later they finally got to 15. So that didn't help us out.
Woof.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. It wasn't good. Did you get by the way, on the way back, did you stop at Eddie's World and get a $25 bag of almonds or something like that?
I didn't get $73 jerky on the way back. I was just lead footing my ass back to Hermosa, so I didn't stop much.
Okay. One thing, I saw it floated out there a little bit. But let me go first. The NIL thing. Listen, with the kid at Vandy, he was in the portal like 13 minutes after the game, right? But like, you can't criticize these guys because these coaches they've got deals working on the off day in between games that they're already like the Colorado State coach. He's gone. He went to Minnesota. The Drake coach went to Iowa. We already knew about, at least the McNeese coach was honest about it. So don't criticize these kids when these guys are also doing the same thing on the days in between games, putting deals together. I mean, suddenly all these coaches switch spots. But you could hear it through the TV, and it was talked about a lot on social media. Are these basketballs that overinflated? It just sounded like brick after – like there was no chance. If it didn't go right in, it just seemed like there was no bounce off the rims. Did you guys sense that? Did you hear about that a little bit too? I mean, because
I mean, some of the bettors were – thanks, Craig. Next time we're in Vegas, hopefully we get to see you. The bettors were talking. I know the bettors were talking about the stiffness of the rims and the inflation of the basketballs. I can't. It's too much to handicap for me. If you get a tip, on some soft rims or some inflated basketballs, go for it. I think we just saw bad performances.
Doesn't that equally impact everyone involved though? So I mean, it's equal in all aspects then. So you still got to hit your shots, and the good ones still knock them down when it matters. It seems like good players were still getting theirs. So I don't know if that played a role there. I just think we're in a weird place with these rosters where they're just constructed really differently. If a player goes off as a mid-major and they have a good run or a really good season, they don't come back to that same mid-major the following year. They get more money to go to a bigger program. And I'm not faulting any kids for doing that, but that's just the nature of the beast right now. If you're any good and you put on a show, you'll get to go somewhere bigger and better and take care of yourself.
Yeah, we know Will Wade is going to NC State from McNeese. We know Medved is leaving Colorado State for Minnesota. We know McCollum. We've been telling you about McCollum forever, and we told you about Medved as well here on VSiN Live. But McCollum's leaving Drake for Iowa. He is from Iowa. Congratulations. So he's going back to his home state. And then your boy Sean Miller. Sean Miller, who's as shady as the longest shadow you're going to find at, the golden hour in Vegas. He is on his way to Texas from Xavier. He keeps on getting big-time jobs.
I'm not so sure Nico Medved isn't the best coach of the group we just named and flew under the radar going back to Minnesota. Look, you lost the bet. It stinks. But the way he drew up that what looked like a final shot for Colorado State against Maryland yesterday, everyone converges on Nick Clifford. He kicks it out. Kid knocks down an open three to take the lead when they're down 2. Everything about that play design, the moment to go for the win, go for the 3 versus tying it up there, I thought that was a ballsy call by him, and he did a great coaching job on a Colorado State team that wasn't even the most talented in the Mountain West, and they ended up winning the league.
Yeah, no, that was a good game. And I thought with a little under 7 seconds to play with that 3 you mentioned, Medved drew up a great call. I thought I was going to win it, and then I knew I did win it when Derek Queen, the chubster, when he took like 100 steps. He walked from Vegas to Hermosa, but he still got a bucket.
Yeah, I heard he actually got a new NIL deal out of that. He's now represented by Travelers Insurance.
Right. Can you not do that? Just like ever again. It's like, I know you read it on Twitter, but just don't do it again. Hey, by the way, I noticed that Brian set you up center stage. Now that now that you guys the crew kicked me out of the Win Studios there, they moved you to the center of the desk. That's a good look for you.
Well, yeah, because there's no angle. You can't see my bad angle. You can't tell which one is my lazy eye when we're head on here. So it is better to be in the middle.
You do have there's a good angle. Ooh, but you know what? Go head on. Let's go head on. He didn't realize. Whoa, a Michelin man in the house. What up? I'm just playing, big guy. Let's say hi to our buddy Tony in Dallas here at VSiN Live. Hi, Tony.
Hey, boys. I love the question, and I think it is basketball. And I think it is because of the money. But here's my logic. I think that you can actually have both this time around. I think you can have a shitty first weekend, which a lot of people will agree we did. But now that the mid-majors are out and the ones that have been constantly playing great ball this whole entire basketball season, that a lot of people, like Dustin said, a lot of people haven't watched, I think now you're going to have some really good competitive games. Now, what does that mean for the future? Compared to football, look, the SEC is now relevant in basketball, which means that now a lot of these kids that live in, no offense, but in the middle of the cornfields in the Midwest and aren't on TV or play in a Big East conference, which is not the Big East anymore, and they want to go south and they want to go to the big campuses with big-time football programs and big football games to go to when they're not playing basketball, they're going to transfer now. And they are going to follow the money, they're going to follow the TV, and they're going to follow the big-time coaches. All the coaches we talk about, with the exception of Rick Pitino, are all in the South now, or they're all in the West. So I do think that you are – look at what Steve Torrey had a writer on that said every single MAC player, first-team MAC player, entered the transfer portal today. 500 kids entered on day one. That has to mean something.
It does. No, you're right. And Torrey's down bad. You know, he waits for this time of the year every year. He went up to Providence with his son and the squad. They didn't see a competitive game the whole time they were there. He is down bad. This is all he waits for every year. It's not a great look. It's you know what? Send your thoughts and prayers to Steve Torrey.
But that's why I think that there's a stronger case maybe to be made for college basketball here being at a bigger crossroads than college football, just because it is a 1 month sport. It is a buildup for this to take over. And in fairness, it does feel like for most of like the last 20 years, we've gotten what we wanted out of March Madness. It's just with everything changing away from the play and now it impacting the actual games, I have concerns going forward that this might be our new normal.
Yeah, it's talent takeover. You're 100% right. We'll set you up on the numbers for the 8 games coming up in just a bit. But Dustin asked a good question. You saw 4 days of the NCAA tournament. Not great. What sport's in worse shape? College hoops, college football. Let's say hi in Chevy Chase to our buddy Bill. Hi, Bill.
Hey guys, thank you. So, this is an interesting conversation to me because of my views on this tournament over the years, and I go, back pretty far. I mean, I started watching this in the UCLA dynasty Wooden days, and I guess my reaction is, yeah, God forbid this tournament go back to being an actual test where talent wins out and is a legitimate process for determining a national champion, as opposed to being a postseason lottery crapshoot that, has all the kind of kick of cotton candy, gives people who don't follow, who couldn't, 90% of the people who put in brackets couldn't name 10 players in the entire country who are not on the team they follow, if they even have a team they follow. So if we're cycling back to what I used to love, this NIL, all this stuff is great. And quite frankly, the argument that I'm hearing being made is, well, gee, this is terrible because this isn't as much fun to bet on, kind of makes my point. There's nothing wrong with wanting this tournament to be that. Everybody's entitled. But, boy, if it goes back more and more, I have no problem seeing good teams win and advance and show their strength. That's what this should be, in my view, because at least it claims to be an event to determine a champion, and it's not what it's been for years. So I'm all for this.
Well, you're right. I mean, Bill, thank you. And here's what we'll do. Continue with your calls. We'll come back, and we'll set up the 8 games as far as the numbers, because as disastrous as the last 4 days were, we do have a nice menu of games coming up on Thursday and Friday, to Bill's point. Yes, we do have 7 teams from the SEC. That league is squawking today. 4 from the Big 12, 4 from the Big 10, and 1 from the ACC. But I'd say 8 pretty good matchups. We'll come back and set those numbers up and get to your calls. The big guy hanging out at the Win, the SiriusXM studios, looking good too with the open button down, the black underneath because it pops on TV. I got yelled at by Brian because I wore white into the studio. right?
Mine's gray. And just for the record, because people assume when a guy of my size is wearing an open shirt, the assumption is it doesn't close. I would just like to confirm I can button this shirt and it will close completely. Just wanted that out there into the
Did you
ether.
hear back from your girlfriend? I'm sure she was proud when a young lady was taking pictures in the studio when we were broadcasting on Friday, and you, as a 40-man-year-old, pulled up your shirt, a 40-year-old man.
Yeah. She said that she now has the permission because I did that to flash anyone she wants. So that's unfortunate for me.
Yeah, I got to be honest with you. That doesn't feel like a fair trade.
Yeah, it feels like the person that's watching her is actually going to enjoy it versus what I did to that poor woman walking by.
That girl that you flashed looked like she ate a bad banana and slowly walked away.
I actually heard more from my girlfriend about how positively I spoke about taking a number 2 at the bathroom here was. She had more issues with that than me flashing.
Zap VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. Welcome back to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
All right, so nothing indicates a degenerate like this. Simultaneously, I've got the 8 in the 8th at Turf Paradise. So I'm betting horses at Turf Paradise, and the 8 just finished 5th. So that's not going to cut it. And I'm betting Paraguay and soccer at the exact same time. So you've come to the right place. VSiN Live on YouTube. Of course, this is VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Dustin Swedelson, I'm Patrick Meagher. We're talking about a bad tournament, and how do you fix that? You bet horses at Turf Paradise and Paraguayan soccer, Dustin.
Yeah, I'd also say the tournament has stunk so far, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to get right in the Sweet 16 and Elite 8, because I see some numbers that are just flat out wrong. So we're about to find some winners for next weekend.
Look at him. He's flying. VSiN's 24/7 sports betting coverage is on SiriusXM Channel 158 and the SiriusXM app, delivering real-time insights, expert picks, and in-depth analysis around the clock. Right now, VSiN is offering new subscribers an exclusive deal. So this is great. You can get the first 30 days of VSiN Pro access for just $1.58. Wow. Last time I checked, that's less than $9.99, which we were offering. Turn the tournament heartbreak into betting success. Daily best bets from both VSiN hosts and guests. Exclusive betting splits from DraftKings and Circa. 24/7 video access. Full VSiN.com access. Plus our March Mania betting guide. You get everything we offer for $1.58 right now. It's a great deal. Go to VSiN.com/subscribe. Use the promo code GRACE. For Grace Remington, who blew me off? Use the promo code GRACE to lock in the special offer for your first 30 days of VSiN Pro access for $1.58. Dustin mentioned the games coming up on Thursday and Friday, so let's run through the numbers quickly here. Arizona Duke. By the way, Cooper Flagg, breaking news, that kid can play. He defends. He's smart. He's efficient. He can shoot it. He's an assist guy. He is easily going to be the number 1 overall pick coming up here.
Oh, and the game is so slow. He looks like, I know he's moving quickly, but he's so fluid. He's so big. He's so decisive with what he wants to do with the basketball, unlike I was in the middle of that sentence just now. He's graceful out there, and it looks like he's moving in slow motion, but he's blowing by people.
Yeah, Cooper Flagg is actually, he's sponsoring a VSiN's Grace promotion. Duke's laying 9.5. That's going to be the biggest number on the board. Arizona Duke. Shout to Steve Cohen, who went to Arizona. His team's going to get beat by this young Dookie team. They're all hitting shots. 9.5. BYU Alabama. I think everybody outside of Steve Torrey and his son are pulling for BYU in this matchup. Alabama is 5.5. This is Thursday. Arkansas Texas Tech. Tech's laying 5.5. Calipari, a 10 seed. Will the magical run continue? Go ahead.
Yeah, that's a really tough matchup. So I do have a 35, 40 to 1 ticket on Texas Tech. I'm concerned Arkansas's figured some things out, although I know it's March and I know there shouldn't be letdown spots, but it does feel like coming off a win over Pitino, St. John's was a 2. Maybe Arkansas can't quite recapture the magic they had over the weekend against a Texas Tech team that plays really, really hard on both ends.
Seems short here because Florida, not a great performance. Maryland, the buzzer beater, 6.5 with Florida laying it. Then you head to Friday, Michigan, Auburn. Auburn, no surprise, 8.5. Mississippi State, Michigan State. Mississippi, Michigan State. Michigan State's going to mop the floor with Mississippi. Yeah. They're laying 3. Purdue, Houston. Houston's laying 8. That's a big number. Kentucky, Tennessee. Tennessee is laying 4. I like Tennessee in that matchup.
Yeah, I would too. Also, the Michigan-Auburn matchup. Look, Dusty, we're talking coaching now at this point is going to be an X factor. And Michigan, we've brought it up, and it has not shot them in the foot yet. The sloppiness with the turnovers on offense. It's Dusty May versus Bruce Pearl. Why are we not taking the 8.5? I don't know if Michigan wins, but is Dusty May going to get out-coached by Bruce Pearl with an Auburn team that hasn't looked like it's playing its best basketball when it matters late in the year?
You're a big Donkey May guy, huh?
I mean, he can clearly coach. He made a run with FAU, and he turned around Michigan in one season. So yeah,
bro, I was just kind of joking. I didn't realize you were on the serious tip today. My goodness, I was just simply asking a question. Take it easy, all right? Sports, my gosh. What the hell?
Well, look,
JT the
look,
Brick
you-
over
and you
here.
said-
JT the Brick, settle down. All right, pay for play. Chill out, Swedelson.
You said Florida's laying a big number, but the reality is Todd Golden's very used to hanging out at Sweet 16s.
He prefers 7 numbers. Text. Let's say hi to our buddy Trucker Jim here on VSiN Live. Hi, Trucker Jim. Jim.
Hello.
Patrick Moa, my homeboy from Sterling Heights, Michigan.
Let's go. 18 and Van Dyke, stand up.
Come on, my man. How you been?
Good, Trucker Jim. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, buddy. Hey, is this the greatest thing in the world or what? Michigan and Michigan State. If things go the right way and they both win this week, they will be playing each other on Sunday.
I know the state
How
of
cool is
Michigan
that?
is fired. I know the state of Michigan is fired up about those two being in the Sweet 16. That's a good point.
And, Patrick, here's the other thing, because I haven't talked to you in a long time. I'm down here in the Florida Keys because I'm retired now and stuff, so I do this for the winter. But I got to tell you, Patrick, the greatest thing that's ever happened to the city of Detroit, Dan Campbell. Do you agree or disagree?
First off, good job by you getting down in the Keys, just absolutely loving life. Margarita in one hand, sports betting on an app in the other hand. You can't beat it. Your feet up, maybe some flip-flops. Dan Campbell? Look, was I all in on the Dan Campbell hire? No. Did Lombardi waterboard me with culture and I'm finally in on Campbell? Yes. If Ben Johnson came back and said, I'll take the head coaching position with the Detroit Lions, I'd kick Dan Campbell so quickly to Chicago it'd make your head spin. But I love my coach. Trucker Jim, that's my answer. I love Dan Campbell.
Best thing that ever happened to Detroit? Is he better than Bob Seger? Is he better than Eminem? Is he better than, I don't know, Henry Ford?
Anti-Semitism doesn't necessarily
That's
track
fair.
these
I'm
days.
glad you brought it up, not me.
Let's go, Joe Lewis. I don't know. Jim Root joins us next talking the tournament here. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Covering the spread all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Sweat your bets with VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
Okay, it's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. You can find us on YouTube. The big guy in the chat over at YouTube will pass along any messages we get at VSiN Live on YouTube. It's Mad Dog Sports Radio, 888-MAD-DOG-6, 888-623-3646. A quick shout to everybody helping out. Naya in New York City, our buddy Ryan back in Vegas, the big guy Dustin Swedelson at the SiriusXM studios at the Wynn, which is a beautiful property and a beautiful setup, beautiful studios. We've got our guys over there, Brian, Antoine, John, and Jeremiah. So thank you to the squad. Thank you to the hospitality when I was out there Thursday and Friday as well. It's an awesome setup. Seriously, if you're at the Wynn, stop by the SiriusXM studios. You'll be blown away. You can go over to VSiN.com and sign up for the newsletter. It's absolutely free, no cost, no charge, and you get the full slate of the betting day's action. Just go to VSiN.com and check out the newsletter. It's just an email address. Okay, we've got the Sweet 16 coming up on Thursday and Friday. To discuss those games and look back on the weekend that was, our college basketball insider, three-man weave, the athletic college basketball writer at Second Chance Points on Twitter. He is our guy, Jim Root, and he joins us here on VSiN Live. I asked you, Jim, have you got any sleep since Thursday? And you look good. You look refreshed. How you feeling?
I feel a little better. Yeah, Sunday into Monday was good sleep. I would say Thursday all the way through Sunday was not. That's okay. That's the way we like it during the NCAA tournament. And I was out in Vegas enjoying the gambling environment there. But yeah, back home in Chicago now, back in my comfortable studio, home office studio here, feeling rested, ready to talk some hoops.
I hesitate to ask the question because I feel like I know what the answer is, but maybe this could be a therapy session. How did the betting go in the first two rounds of the tournament?
Really poorly. A lot of the stuff I liked.
Us too.
Yeah.
Join the crew, Jim. Join the crew.
Good. That's generally been the consensus I've heard. I think a lot of the stuff people liked on Thursday, Friday just did not go well, whether it be sides or totals. Some of the shooting was a little aberrational. I just think some of the matchup stuff too didn't play out the way I or others expected. And perhaps that's why just purely, handicapping only on matchups isn't always going to work. There's got to be a lot more numbers involved and stuff. But I typically like the tournament because you're not looking at schedule angles as much or motivational angles. That doesn't exist. It should be more about the basketball and how the teams prepare for each other on the court, that sort of thing. I think I was just wrong on quite a few games, so got to bounce back with the rest of the tournament ahead.
Do you look at some themes coming out of Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday? Lack of seeding upsets. You've got the one double seed in 10 Arkansas who beat St. John's. Of course, all 4 1 seeds alive. As far as themes so far in the tournament, what stands out to you, Jim?
Yeah, I think generally going into the tournament, chalk was expected, or at least I did, just based on the strength of the top 4 teams and really the top 20 to 25-ish in terms of the relative Ken Palm adjusted efficiency margin. Those teams were stronger than they were in previous seasons. So even the fact that we got some pretty solid mid-major winners in the seed lines, 12 through 16, the top teams are really good too, and they were able to avoid the upsets. Some of it was, close. Like UC San Diego really almost had it against Michigan. That was one I thought was going to happen. Didn't quite get there. And then second round, pretty much all the Cinderellas were not able to get through. St. John's was the only top 2 seed to go down. So this just sets up for a great Sweet 16 Elite 8. I constantly I want my upsets in the first round, and I'm done with them in the second round. So we get the Sweet 16 Elite 8, high quality games we hope for. And I think we're pretty much aligned and set up for that. I'm looking forward to it.
Nobody grinds the tape watching these games, watching the schools that we all don't watch and like you do all season long. Like, it's not just a 1 month event for you. Like, you're locked in very early in the years. So curious what your take is, because this has been making the rounds, the NIL, the transfer portal, it impacting this tournament. How much do you think, and in what ways is that impacting what we're seeing this, in the opening round, kind of unlike one we've never seen before?
Yeah, I think there's a little to it, and I think maybe the fifth year COVID guys and being the last year of that is part of it too, where there is a lot of talent at the top level, and it's helped those top 20-ish, 25-ish teams separate themselves a little bit. But I hesitate to apply too much, overall narrative to one tournament because I think that's definitely human instinct. We want to be able to explain away anything that could actually be credited to as randomness. But as much as I want to just say like, oh, this could be what's going to happen in the future with the transfer portal and the way that the big teams can accumulate talent with throwing money at it, I'm not sure that's quite how I feel. Like you look back at 2 years ago when we had no 1 through 3 seeds in the Final Four. You had the Florida Atlantic run. You had San Diego State, a team from outside the power conferences, go on a run. And I think at that point it was like, wow, I guess the tournament's just going to be chaos from now on. We don't have any great teams anymore. And it just flips pretty quickly. So I hope it's going to continue to be unpredictable, where we could get a tournament like this. We could get a 2023 tournament where you don't see a lot of the top teams get through. Those 1 seeds really struggled that year. That's the beauty of it. I don't want it to turn into, the first 2 weekends are just going to be a slow walk to getting the top teams. It's nice to have the variable of excitement and just not knowing what's going to happen.
Our buddy Jim Root here talking the tournament, VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. We've got a caller, Brett, Michigan, who said, why are you picking Tennessee when Kentucky beat them twice this year? I like Tennessee in this matchup. That's coming up on Friday. Tennessee's laying 4. Kentucky, of course. Kentucky took care of Illinois. And Tennessee on Saturday. Let me just refresh. Yeah, they beat UCLA. But you do like Tennessee in this matchup, Jim?
Yeah, going with Tennessee. I think having watched both those matchups, a lot of it was just shooting. To be perfectly honest, in the 2 games, Kentucky was 24 for 48 from 3, 50%, hit 24 threes. Tennessee was 14 of 63. 22%. Like that kind of tells you what happened. The story of those 2 games, shot quality graded both of them. Tennessee wins. Now one of them more narrow than the other, but I think the more, or maybe the big indicator is the first game, Tennessee just got teased into taking 40 plus threes. And that is not their game. It's not what they're good at. They have some shooting, but they're better at dominating the rim, getting inside, getting on the offensive glass a little bit. Second time, they did much more of that and shot over 50% inside the arc. And I think that is going to be sustainable despite Kentucky's defense looking better in this first weekend. They just went 3 for 18 from 3. The couple shots they needed to get over the hump did not go in. Kentucky gets the sweep, and you start to think maybe they just dominate this matchup. But digging in under the hood a little bit of those results, I think they were a little bit more indicative positively for Tennessee, and that's why I'm going to lay it with them this coming weekend.
The late game on Friday. So right before the tournament started, I bet Houston to win it all, like plus 650. I just thought the number wasn't indicative of like how close they were to those top 3 teams. It was just so much bigger than the 2 short ones with Florida and Duke. And they're taking on Purdue. So right now we have Houston laying 8.5. The total's 132.5, Jim. And I guess if you believe Purdue has a chance to win, it's going to go over. But if you believe Kelvin Sampson instills his will on the other side of Matt Painter, it'll go under. What are you going to do with the total here in Purdue and Houston?
Yeah, I'll just quick comment on Houston where to your point, I think they are right with the other top 3 teams. I'm surprised they weren't priced like that. I think we saw why in the second round. This isn't just you have to grind out defensively, and if they have to score, they're screwed. They were awesome offensively against Gonzaga all night. They got a bunch of early shots from LJ Cryer. And then the second half, it was Jalen Roberts just spinning, flipping up his little lefty hooks. He got a couple righty hooks to go. They won with offense. And I think typically people don't think of Houston having that capability. This team can shoot. However, that said, I think this is going under, mostly because of pace. I think this is going to be super, super slow. Both teams really prefer to play in the half court. I mean, Braden Smith will run a little bit opportunistically if he sees something in transition, but I think we saw against High Point that game slowed down against a mid-major that could have had a little bit of a track meet, and then Purdue just dominated in the half court against McNeese as well. Houston, very comfortable in playing in the half court, and then just a little bit of a matchup angle. Purdue's big weakness is at the rim. Like, they really struggle to contain you there. Houston's like bottom 15 in the entire country in rim and 3 rate. They take a lot in the mid-range. They can kind of be teased into doing that. Now, I think they'll get all over the offensive glass and get some second possessions, but that just elongates the game. I think Houston could have a bunch of 40-second possessions where they wait a while to shoot, get a board, wait a while to shoot again, and that helps the pace here stay under. So that's my big angle on that one is tempo.
Jim Root joining us talking college hoops in the NCAA tournament. I want to go back to yesterday to talk about another matchup. And I'm not bitter, Jim, but I did have Colorado State money line. And whether or not Derek Queen walked from Chicago, where you are now, back to Vegas, I'm not sure. However, Colorado State only themselves to blame because they were awesome in the first half and got beat big time by Maryland in the second half. Medved flips that job with the Rams to Minnesota and advances Maryland. Maryland's going to take on a Florida team that's laying 6.5 here. I know it's not an official play, but what's your take on the matchup?
I kind of lean towards Maryland here. Just I don't know that, especially later in the tournament. I'm not huge on like, oh, I need depth. You need depth, and that is one of the big strengths of Florida, and it helped them throughout the season when they had a couple injuries nagging here and there. But when it comes down to it, it's who's got the best five on the floor, especially late in the second half. And I think Maryland's close to as good as Florida. I won't give them an edge, but in the backcourt, where Florida may have the best guard group left in the tournament, Gillespie, Rice, and Miguel aren't far behind, and I think they showed why in that matchup against Colorado State. And then up front, maybe you have some risk of foul trouble with how deep the Florida front court is, but Florida's like 151st, excuse me, in free throw rate. They're not a team that lives at the line. I don't think it's going to be a real foul fest for Julian Reese and Derek Queen. So with those two teams having similar size, similar backcourts, I think it could be a tight one. Now, Florida, I think, did get some like stress off their shoulders beating UConn. I think they were really tight for that one. The stakes of that game, playing the two-time reigning national champ, down the stretch, they were able to make some plays. Maybe they're a little looser and they just kind of roll teams the way they did at the end of the regular season. But I think Maryland's tough enough to compete with their top five and the physicality that they bring.
The later game on Thursday after that, Arkansas and Texas Tech. You know, the Razorbacks, little engine that could, up against it this year with all that NIL money. They're the 10 seed that's alive in the Sweet 16. Texas Tech feels like a tough matchup for them. Red Raiders laying 5.5 total, 147.5. If you were going to do anything here, which side would you lean on?
I'd probably lean to the over and sidewise towards Texas Tech. I don't believe Arkansas is a great shooting team. Haven't been all season. They weren't against St. John's, but it was a great matchup for them because they're playing another team that can't shoot either. And those two combined to go, I believe it was 4 of 41 from three, just a disgusting perimeter shooting game. But it did get up and down. Arkansas wants to play in transition, and Texas Tech, man, they are willing to play in transition. They got up and down a little bit against Wilmington. Now they get freed from the vice grip of the Drake tempo, where it's like a 60 possession game. You could get a little bit of slingshot effect there. Where now we're playing this athletic team. We can actually get out and run. They're not going to slow things down. I think that helps Tech. And then just overall, I think they're better in the backcourt. I'm not sold on Boogie Fland being a hugely positive impact now that he's back from his injury, although he's given them a couple of solid minutes. And the one advantage here, too, for the Red Raiders, I'm sure they wish they were playing Friday to give Chance McMillan an extra day to return. But if they can get him back, that's another just one of the best shooters in all of college basketball. To go with the interior duo we saw of Williams and Toppin that cut up Drake, and then Hawkins, Kerwin Walton, they've got weapons, too. So I'm gonna lean towards Tech there and like the over, too.
Well, speaking of Arkansas, Jim Root joining us, VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports. I just quickly want to ask you what you thought about that St. John's Arkansas matchup. So much was made about Calipari and Pitino, of course. The game was choppy. Dustin mentioned the officiating. Felt like Arkansas was the right winner the whole way. What was your take watching that game?
Choppy is exactly what I thought. It felt like the refs got very involved when maybe they didn't need to. It was just like, oh, these two teams are more athletic than we are capable of officiating. So let's just maybe insert ourselves, slow the game down at times. I think Arkansas was the deserved winner. You know, you can look at St. John's. They were 2 for 22 from three. Well, Arkansas was 2 for 19. Like it wasn't one on 3-point variance. It was one on really the glass where Arkansas competed, if not won. And then they didn't turn it over too much. And when you shoot 57% inside the arc and St. John's shoots 36% inside the arc, that's very sustainable game to game. I think that's really telling on how Arkansas was able to control the paint and just get better shots generally than St. John's was.
Curious what you think about the total in BYU Bama, because you can't set totals high enough for Alabama. And it feels the same for BYU, and they're shooting lights out so far. So number 2 versus number 6. Bama's laying 5.5. Is 175.5 too low for this matchup?
Man, it might be. It really kind of comes down to what you think of the tempo. Ken Pom projects it at 74, but like Alabama will play an 80 possession game if you want to. They're 77 against Robert Morris, 83 against Kentucky in the SEC tournament. They will really get up and down if you play with them. BYU isn't necessarily a sprint up and down team, but they are highly efficient on offense. They want to turn games into jump shooting contests because they're pretty sure they're better than you at them, and they have been over and over this season. One interesting matchup thing there is Alabama is one of the best in the entire country at taking away spot up jumpers, catch and shoot type stuff. Because their defensive scheme, they're playing drop coverage. They don't want to help off shooters. They want to let you just kind of live in the mid range, do whatever you want between 20 feet and 5 feet. And if BYU doesn't have those kick out jumpers to Trevin Nell and to Dawson Baker and the entire roster there that basically can all shoot, does that tighten the floor up for them? Does that make this half-court offense a little bit less efficient that has been over and over again this year? Can they still create catch-and-shoot jumpers against a defense that is like geared specifically to prevent them? That would be my question, but it just does feel like Alabama will control tempo enough that BYU is not going to slow it down that much. So I would lean to the over. I wonder, I guess I don't have an exact cutoff point where I would maybe start looking back at the under, but it does feel like it's going to get bet up. I think it's ticked up 1 point at Circa already this week.
Jim Root joining us across the Great Lake. Michigan is the great state of Michigan from you in Chicago, and they're having a run. Michigan and Michigan State in the Sweet 16. Here's a matchup with Mississippi, who took care of Iowa State, and Michigan State, who took care of New Mexico. It's State laying 3. I thought the number felt short. How about you?
Yeah, I agree. I think Michigan State's kind of proven over and over that they deserve to be ranked where they are. I mean, they're top 10 in Ken Pom. They really struggled early against New Mexico, came back and took care of business there. They blew out Bryant. I think there's a sense because there's no like All-American on this team. There's no NBA player that they can't be this good, right? They can't be. But they are just so good at a lot of the little things, like their interior defense. They're one of the best rebounding teams 2 ways in the entire country. So I'm gonna go with them. Partially is because of that rebounding battle. Ole Miss likes to win the turnover battle. Forced turnovers, never cough it up. Michigan State, I think, can take enough care of the ball that they get shots up on the rim. They're going to dominate the offensive glass in this game. I think they could get 15 to 20 offensive rebounds against a much smaller, less physical front court of Ole Miss. That's going to be huge. The one matchup kind of thing that I'm looking at too, Ole Miss's defense, because they're not very big, they're just willing to switch everything. They know that their guards are going to get picked on in some matchups. Go ahead, switch, attack us in isolation. We can deal with that. They force one of the highest isolation rates in the country. Michigan State's like the lowest isolation rate offensively in the country. So if they're forced into one-on-one scoring, perhaps that's where it comes up that they don't have the All-American. They don't have the bucket getter unless Jace Richardson has a much better game than he had against New Mexico. He had quite a dud in that one, 1 for 10. So I think it could come down to Richardson making plays, maybe a little bit of Jaden Akins too. But given the dominance on the glass, I think we'll get enough shot volume advantage for Michigan State to cover that -3.
Jim, from a futures perspective, just looking at the board, Duke is the favorite still, plus 220. It's still short, but it's not that much shorter than it was a week ago. Florida's plus 380. That's right around where they were this time last week. Houston, 525. Auburn, up to 525. They were about 4-1 when the tournament started. Now, after that, we're getting 16-1 or greater. After what you've seen through one weekend of the NCAA tournament, do you still believe one of those 4 1 seeds will end up winning the whole thing?
I do. Yeah. I all through the season, I think they had really separated themselves. And although basically 3 of them got tested, Duke, the only one that really got through completely unscathed in the second round there, I still think they stand out in terms of talent, in terms of coaching. They've got just a little bit extra juice and can, most of it, really all of them, can win in different ways. It doesn't need to be an offensive shootout the way it kind of does for somebody like Alabama. Doesn't need to be a slow down game where Michigan State's really better playing in the half court and keeping you out of transition and winning with physicality. The 1 seeds are just so flexible with their talent and with their different styles that I think one of them will still end up being the title winner when it's all said and done.
Yeah, the two biggest numbers on the board, talking to Jim Root, of course, Arizona Duke. Duke's up to 9.5 at some shops, and Auburn 8.5 against Michigan. Do you think Michigan can push them there? I mean, the turnovers, which we all talked about being loose with the ball, haven't been as big of an issue as we suspected. Do you think Michigan can push Auburn, or Auburn's just too good?
I think Michigan can push Auburn, just in the same way Creighton pushed them. I know Auburn did eventually separate and cover, but Creighton was up at halftime. It really took just an awesome performance from all of Auburn's guards to get them over that cover line. And it's interesting with Michigan, like the turnovers are bad. We know that it's going to probably be an issue, even if it hasn't been so severe yet in this tournament. But they're used to that, like this is the way they've played all season. They're comfortable with it. They know they can make up for it in other areas with their dominance at the rim, top 15 in 2-point percentage on both ends of the court because they play 2 7-footers together. And then typically their shooting is very beneficial. It wasn't as good in Big Ten play, but it's come right back in the NCAA tournament against non-conference competition again. So I just don't know that Auburn has that form of dominance, of blowing teams out, even a top competition that they did for most of the season. Despite getting away from Creighton at the end there, I think they're still vulnerable-ish, or the most vulnerable of the one seeds. I think Michigan does hang around there with that unique Golden and Wolf pick and roll.
Dusty May, first year at Michigan, Sweet 16. Coach Cal, Arkansas, Sweet 16 in his first year. Young and Pope, BYU and Kentucky, respectively, in the Sweet 16. We just had 4 coaches hired at new programs. Of the 4 coaches, Wade at NC State, Medved at Minnesota, McCollum at Iowa, Miller at Texas. Which one of those is most likely to end up in the Sweet 16 in year 1 like these other guys?
I'll go with Miller just from a resources standpoint. I think McCollum is probably the best coach of the bunch just from an X and O standpoint. But Miller's going to have big time NIL stuff down there at Texas. I think they'll be able to fill out the roster. And honestly, watching them play Xavier on Wednesday night for that play-in game, it was like, I think Texas has the better roster, but they, the better coaches on the Xavier side. Well, now he's going to have a better roster, and he's going to be on the Texas side with all those resources. I think there's a chance he fills, that first year coaches going to the Sweet 16 in his first year at Texas.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think about that. That was a good audition for Sean Miller in the second half, coaching Xavier against Texas. And we were all on Xavier, so we were happy with the outcome. So was Miller, because he just flipped it to one of the richest schools in the country.
And all our good fortune was used in that game, Patrick. We didn't have it on Thursday and Friday.
Dude, look, the tournament. Here's how you can judge, and because you were in Vegas as well. You can judge the tournament based on just like this palpable energy inside a sportsbook, and there was just never a wave that kept building on Thursday, Friday. There was never, Dustin, there was the wave that you genuinely get. It just wasn't there.
And if there is anyone that's having a monster March Madness, you don't deserve it because the bets you placed weren't fun bets. You were laying the one with a lot of heavy favorites. Like, you're just not in it for what this event is about. Jim, I know you're a purist. I know you love college basketball, but we need some underdog stories here. Drake was our last little hope there, and they got eliminated. We needed a little bit of juice here.
Yeah, it would have been nice. And for me, I couldn't even enjoy the Drake aspect of it all because I'm a Missouri alum, and that was like, the most crushing result of the first round for me. Did I have an emotional hedge?
The only real upset of the first round.
Yeah. Did I have an emotional hedge on Drake plus 6.5? Yes. Was that one of the few bets I won the first day? Yes. So, it was a tough ending there. Mizzou did cut it to 1 late, and we had all the hope, my group of Mizzou alumni and I out in Vegas. But then pretty deflating when that one didn't go well, and we didn't find any other big upsets the rest of the day. I guess McNeese got through as a 12 seed, but that was none of them made it to the second round. Arkansas, you don't count as a Cinderella.
No, it's the most NIL on the planet. The old emotional hedge. Your heart gets broken, but your pocketbook wins. That's Jim Root. 3-man weave, the athletic college basketball writer at Second Chance Points for Jim on Twitter. Listen, thank you for all the time. I know it's been a busy few days, and we'll talk to you next week, Jim. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we'll have to figure it out. Next Monday, I will be in the arena. Maybe we can get it done before that super late tip for the final down there in San Antonio.
Okay, great. Well, if we can work it out, we'll work it out. So thank you, Jim. Appreciate you.
Perfect. Yeah, sounds good, guys. Thanks for having me.
Okay, there goes Jim Root, our college basketball insider. That might be something. We might be able to do something with Jim if he has time, big guy.
Yeah, no, it's a good check-in. It's big time. Get the energy. Maybe the vibes will be different around the tournament.
Yeah, he had the emotional hedge going with Drake. I genuinely thought Drake was going to end up in the Sweet 16 because, like we said, they did get punched. Missouri pulled within one, then they pulled away and won comfortably, and then a dud in the second round.
But and what am I missing with the schedule? He said Monday at the arena, Thursday. Oh, and the games are Monday, Tuesday. Is that what it is? Final. I'm trying to remember the schedule now.
I believe so. You want to have this meeting on the air and put me in a tough spot too?
I mean, we could talk it out. I thought maybe you knew. Let's see. I'm seeing Friday. I'm seeing TBD on what happens next. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't have a clue. So I'm guessing that's in Chicago then, where he is. I'm just trying to figure out what that matchup could potentially be. Assuming that's the Midwest, Houston, Purdue, Kentucky, Tennessee. Face who in Chicago? I'm trying to figure that out. I'll get it in the break.
I'm just gonna chill.
No.
Hey, you're the co-host here. Do you need anything from me, or can I? You just want to text him and see if we can.
We're just trying to work out the logistics here. I don't understand what game he's going to be at Monday. I didn't think the games were on Monday. I thought they were later in the week, and then the championships in 2 Mondays.
Yeah. I gotta be honest. I have no clue. Because it's not.
You just show up and go, what's happening today? That's
the
difference.
Yeah, because Monday's like a week away, and I'm just hoping to get through the day. I got another hour and a half of this program. That's all I know. But I do appreciate your forethought. That is a good job by you. When we return your calls, the question, college basketball, we are coming off not necessarily the most exciting weekend in the NCAA tournament. I have really lost my zeal for college football, so we're asking you, NIL, transfers, college basketball and football have been flipped upside down. Which one's down bad? Which one's down worse right now? Come back with your calls. It's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. Live betting reaction to all of the night's action. You're tuned in to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
Poor Nye is always in a tough spot. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Tonight on SiriusXM NBA Radio Channel 86, the action tips off at 10 Eastern as the Milwaukee Bucks battle the Phoenix Suns, who are chasing their fourth straight win. Tune in for all the action on SiriusXM for a full schedule of times and channels. Go to SiriusXM.com/sports. Dustin Swedelson hanging out at the SiriusXM studios, the Win in Las Vegas. I'm Patrick Meagher, live from Los Angeles. I mentioned Naya Ryan doing his thing in Vegas as well on YouTube at VSiN Live. You can get involved in the chat. By the way, that's a pretty short number tonight. I think Phoenix is laying it, aren't they? Hosting the Bucks. My guess is that means the Bucks aren't playing anybody. Let's see.
Dame Lillard's out. I know that. Giannis, last I looked, was, I believe, questionable, probable. I'll get you an answer on that.
Phoenix is laying 3, big guy. That means that might mean that Giannis is a big time up in the air.
He's available to play as of 1 minute ago. Here's the thing. Something must be going on with Phoenix. I'm not going to pretend like I'm dialed into that boring organization that just grasped to try and get some talent in there. But John Metler, who's coming up in about 20 minutes on the show, one of his talking points for today is Phoenix's new rotation. So maybe they're doing something where they've looked better of late. I can tell you this, Milwaukee also stinks. Ton of talent. They also stink. I don't know if I want to do anything with that game, unless you want to convince me, because I do need to win.
No. Phoenix is playing their best ball of the year, but I don't care about that game. Chicago and Denver, I am going over. If you can find 238.5. No Jokic, but the Bulls offense is clicking right now. Who's
Josh
texting?
Giddey.
I dare you to read that text.
Josh Giddey is out of control. I didn't see what it was. I got to open up my phone. I have the YouTube. I'm watching us on YouTube so I could be in the comments.
That's a good job by you.
Josh Giddey's out of control. Like, that dude is filling up a stat sheet every single night. Kobe White, since a couple injuries went down to guys like Lonzo Ball, has been really good. I'm looking at a different player here because all season long, the Denver Nuggets have stunk at defending shooting guards, especially ones that can hit it from beyond the arc. Our guy Red Velvet is the play tonight. Over 13.5 points. Denver allows the 4th most points to opposing shooting guards. Herder's gone over this number in 4 in a row, 5 of his last 6. I think he has a chance to get hot against the Nuggets, who are going to be without Nikola Jokic tonight.
Herder, who has the best nickname in the association. He's a white dude with red hair. So what do people call him? Red Velvet. And he's got a velvety stroke as well.
That's another guy. You mentioned Austin Reeves living in your neighborhood, having to wear his Lakers gear in public so people know he's a Laker. Kevin Herter's another guy who has to wear Chicago Bulls gear in public so people know he's a professional athlete.
Finally, closing out the night, the Celtics are at the Kings, and the Celtics are laying 4.5 on the road. Did you do anything with that?
No, have fun because this is what the Celtics do. There's guys in and out of the lineup. Al Horford out. Jaylen Brown questionable. Hauser questionable. On the other side for the Kings, Sabonis and Malik Monk are questionable. It's that time of year where these teams are just either resting for the playoffs or tanking trying to lose. Like the injury report for a game that's underway right now, Sixers-Pelicans, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys were ruled out between the two teams. It's just, it's a disaster.
You know who did return tonight? Dallas at the Nets. Davis.
Anthony Davis is playing. Let's see. What's our score? I have to refresh.
They're killing them. They're up 62-48. The Mavs are up 62-48 over the Nets.
Ooh, what's Najee Marshall doing now that he's on the bench? He still has 9 points. That guy went off when all those guys were banged up for them. But does Nico Harrison have a playoff pushing him with these Dallas Mavericks who are 34-37 right now? I don't think so.
All right, 888 Mad Dog 6, 888-623-3646. That's the association. However, we are talking college hoops with the tournament. It's been underwhelming, no doubt. And Dustin posed this question this morning. With everything that's happening, NIL and the transfers and coaches jumping teams and everybody jumping ship, who's down bad or down worse, I should say, college hoops or college football? And if you just want to comment on the weekend that was as far as the NCAA tournament, feel free to jump in the mix. Stay here in California on VSiN Live and say hi to Kirk. Hi, Kirk. Welcome.
Hey, fellas. How are you tonight?
Hey, what's up, man?
Good. Hey, so first off, Bobby Portis is also out with suspension, so that's factors on
Yeah, Portis
Milwaukee.
out for Milwaukee. Good job by you.
But Kuzma may be on his rebounds. He's been crushing it on the rebounds, and he's going to have to rebound tonight. So that might be something to look into.
Love
But
it.
so I think college football certainly is got the worst of it right now. I'm not as bad on the college basketball stuff. I mean, if you go to cycles, we held on to the Valpo upset for so long. So it's not like there was a ton of them early on. Then Gonzaga, of course, became the mid-major upsetter, and then until they won 15 straight, so they became not that. But I think during that time, we had the cycle of the players becoming there. So now they're going to be taken away. And I think that what will happen is there will be about 5 teams or 5 schools that are kind of coveted for as far as the women, all of the outside factors of basketball. And I know I just started with women. That's awful, but you know what I'm getting at. They'll find some teams that will become, I think, powerhouse mid-majors again, like they were back in the 90s, early 2000s. And at that point, I got to say that it makes the tournament better, kind of like Bill was saying in Chevy Chase. I like some of the points he made. So I think that there's good hope for the college basketball. The college football, I mean, you've got some teams that are just going to bring in the next best guy quarterback-wise. They'll never develop good quarterbacks anymore. There's all kinds of other reasons why I think the football is just going to continue to get worse and worse until we figure out kind of a way to get it done. But basketball, I think we're okay. Everyone's, I think, pulling the eject cord too quickly. That's my
By the way, Kirk, Kuzma, you're right. 14 boards on Saturday against Sacramento. His total set at 6.5 tonight. You like the over for Kuzma?
I love it. I love it. He has to get the rebounds.
I like your confidence. He's got the confidence. That's what we like to say here on VSiN Live. If you come confident, you're generally going to get a tail.
Oh, yeah, I'll bet everything Tommy ever tells us because Tommy believes in every single bet he's ever called in about. I mean, the guy could go 0 for 20. I'll still tail his next bet. I think maybe I might mess around with Devin Booker in that game. Milwaukee is the worst in the league with points allowed to point guards, and Booker's been running the point lately. Ball in his hand more opportunities. I think that might be the play is Devin Booker over 26.5 points. I'm going to bet it right now.
Mess around and find out. That's what's going to happen with your punk ass. I'm going with Kirk and over the 6.5 boards for the Frosted Tips. And Kyle Kuzma.
Hasn't been bad. He hasn't been bad there. He's been a little bit better. I mean, I don't know if he's a winning long-term basketball player because he doesn't like to defend, but he's been pretty good since he got traded.
Yeah, I mean, they've just had an absence with Portis, so they needed some size. And, somebody on the wing that can go grab a board. And he did. He had 14 against Sacramento on Saturday. All right. We'll see. And actually, three pretty good games coming up in the NBA. Let's say hi to our buddy Twiz here in Los Angeles. Twizzy, what's going on? What have you thought about this tournament?
Man, before we get into that, man, I don't know if you remember. You probably won't, but your boy's favorite sport and the first sport that I ever trained in or played organized was boxing. So and your boy has a CCW. So if you ever feel the need that you got to throw some hands, call your boy. I'm with you. Right?
Let's go, Twiz. I know you got my back. I know that's right.
All right. Now look, this tournament has been similar to the guy coming in after you. It's been donkey business, right? I mean, it's been just brutal, right? But I like a lot of the things that Tony was, as far as the NIL was talking about. But I would just caution everybody to remember there are going to be sweeping changes to this NIL thing, and that's going to affect a lot of what we're seeing now. So I'm hoping we don't get so much of the movement and we get to build up those storylines, because the biggest thing that's missing are the build-up storylines besides just the Cinderellas that were instant. We had storylines going from one year to the next and a continuation of matchups from previous years. We don't have that anymore. That's why Caitlin Clark and the Reese thing was so huge, because they had that build-up, right? And then another thing, that I just wanted to ask you guys, because my betting has just been horrible. My best bet probably had been the McNeese, taking the points with McNeese, and my worst absolute bet was definitely Florida minus 8.5 with against UConn. So I just want to hear what were your guys' number one bet and which was your worst bet.
Well, first off, I met Twizzy. You don't want to mess with Twizzy. We were all over. Yeah, we were on McNeese as well. That was a bit of a rocking chair. I don't know. It's been ugly. I know who the big guy loved, and I don't even mean to bring it up, but it was A&M against Michigan.
Oh, how about this? Saturday, first day off in like 3 weeks. So what do? I pop that game on while I'm running errands. Halftime, they're up by like 12 or something like that. Oh, it's over. I'm not even going to monitor the game. I then check the score later because I'm like, wait, the money's not in my betting account. That's weird because they were definitely beating the hell out of Michigan. Went and looked at the box score. They got crushed in the second half. Did not see that one coming. I thought A&M was grown men. And the talking point about Michigan was that they were sloppy with the basketball and was eventually going to get them. And I thought Texas A&M was a great defensive team, awesome rebounding team. They could kind of limit what the Wolverines like to do on the glass. Nope, opposite end, blew a big lead. A&M, bye-bye, 60-1.
I hear you. By the way, I'm just checking in on my boy Caruso. See what he's got for props. See if he's got anything coming up late night. Because he's killing it right now.
I saw that Jamal Murray is available. Aaron Gordon is also out for Denver. Christian Brown is going to play. I wonder if maybe we should do something with that Nuggets-Bulls game. We already have the one bet on Herder. Maybe there's a play on one of the Nuggets. That's what I'm thinking here.
No, you know who he's got? He's got Caruso, who's one of the best prop kids around. He's got Aaron Gordon tonight over 3.5 dimes.
Well, he was just ruled out.
So scrap that.
Chicago allows the most assists per game to point guards. I think Jamal Murray assists might be our move.
Yeah, but you know that's going to be
Westbrook.
jacked up.
It's 6.5. I think we go combo.
Murray 6.5. That's not terrible.
It's not, but I think we go combo Russell Westbrook. No Jokic, no Gordon. He does have some size. He can get rebounds. Maybe he has to crash more. Also, when he's running point when Murray's on the bench, he can then facilitate against a team that can't defend point guards, dishing it out. Russell Westbrook, I just talked myself into it. That's the play. Over 31.5 points, rebounds, and assists. It's so easy to do it.
You love that play.
I do.
You can't get enough of that play. Hold on, I'm just betting. I'm betting the Murray over 6.5 dimes. 888-623-3646. College basketball down bad on a Monday, 24th of March. Down worse than college football? Your calls are next. It's VSiN Live.
4 minutes.
Dustin Swedelson. Now back to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Maher and Dustin Swedelson.
VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Again, attention Mad Dog listeners, Mad Dog Sports Radio's listeners. If you're new to VSiN, sign up for our free daily newsletter. It's a great way to catch up. It's delivered straight to your inbox every morning. VSiN's newsletter offers picks and data and strategies for today's betting menu every single day. It's free. Bill A.D. doing a great job with that. VSIN.com/newsletter. Dustin Swedelson, I'm Patrick Maher at VSiN Live on YouTube. You know what I find fascinating? Because Dustin's broadcasting live from the SiriusXM studios at the Wynn, which is not only a beautiful property, but that is an A-plus studio setup, and everybody working there just on another level. What I find fascinating is they've got 4 industry vets. They got Brian, they got Antoine, they got John, they got Jeremiah, all sitting there working, and it's just you.
Yeah, believe me, no one's more confused about it than I am. I think they're looking for stuff to do, and I just don't have anything for them to do to help. Because
they're busy. So I'm not pretending like they don't have stuff to do. I'm just saying, like, watching you is a wild proposition for the 4 of them.
But at the same time, random people walking by the studio can also watch me because there's windows where the wall should be, and I'm basically a zoo animal here to entertain everyone as they walk by the classiest joint in Vegas.
There you go. There's a good look. You can see at VSiN Live. There's no need to wave, big guy. You can every time. Yeah, that is the bald spot camera. Brian's doing you dirty right now, because that thing. I'm tired, and that shine coming off that spot is making me. It's blinding me right now.
It's a glare that you need polarized lenses to deal with. That's how bad the bald spot is.
Did your girlfriend, when she saw it on TV, bring up turkey again?
No, because I think she knows I'm in my head about it, that I'm concerned how it looks from every angle. So I just need to be sure that she's always in front of me, right? It's kind of like playing defense in these basketball games. Keep your player in front of you. I got to keep her in front of me. I don't want her to get a look at what's going on over here.
And again, turkey, we're talking the country people, not the deli meat.
No, turkey. Apparently they take hair from other parts of your body and put it on your head. I'm assuming it's like chest and butt hair. I don't know where they're pulling that hair from. And does that hair actually grow?
Well, I don't know, but if they're taking hair from your body, you're going to have Rapunzel-like hair.
It's really unfortunate. The rest of my body is just covered in hair, and I just have this one patch on the top of my head that I can't fill in. Here,
hey, can you pull that back? Can you lean to your left a little bit? Oh, Brian, give me a zoom on that. Oh my God!
Oh, that's not. This is worse than I thought.
This is a game changer. You know what?
Oh no! I think I gotta shave it.
Hey, you know what, man? You know how I mess with you a lot?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, like, this is real. Like in sports, we always say you're either winning or losing. You either need to be competing for a Super Bowl or tanking for the first pick.
Oh,
my head right now, I'm in the middle.
Oh,
and I'm at a crossroads. I think it's time to make a real decision about what I need to do going forward.
Listen, I mean this from the bottom of my heart, because I know you're going to think I'm being facetious. I want to say this. I'm sorry, man.
I need a new direction with my head. We need to adjust course, because what I just saw, like, it's way bigger than I thought. It is.
Well, I mean, to be fair to you, how often can you see that part of your head? It's only when Brian's zooming in with the Win cameras that cost like $1 billion a piece.
No, that's totally fair. I never get I used to shave my head bald, not all the way, but like buzz it down. The inspiration for it was I was walking through the grocery store in a section where they had a security cam, and I looked up and went, "Oh, there's a big bald guy walking down the hallway," and I realized it was me. The next day, I went to the barber, and I was like, "You got to buzz all this off my head. We're losing a battle."
Hey, to be fair, those cameras are so crystal clear that maybe it's accentuating what's happening. Maybe it's not that bad.
More crystal clear than people's eyeballs.
I'm saying maybe it's like highlighting it, and it's not that bad, but because the cameras are so vibrant.
What if I go straight back with my hair? You think I can cover it up?
You got to go Pat Riley on that ass.
I think we need to. I'm now a slick back person. So How
Hold on.
about now?
Naya's a female back in New York City. Naya, you can say in my ear. You're looking at it. What do you
No.
think Dustin should do about that look right there?
Oh.
Does he just have to buzz it, or should he go to Turkey and get a transplant?
Oh, $5,000. I'm
Oh,
saving for a lot of other
she just
things.
dropped the hammer. She slowly said, transplant. Well, no, you don't have to apologize.
hurts.
Hey, big guy, I'm with you, bro. I'm not making. You know what? You're my guy.
You're not with me. You're almost.
I am
50.
with you.
You're almost 50, and you have the best head of hair of anyone I know.
Yeah, but that's the point. Almost 50. That's a bad beat. I'd rather be 40 and balding than 47 with a lot of hair.
I don't know. I mean, you've defied some odds. You've lived a pretty wild life, so you've beaten the odds here.
Yeah, but I still 7 years of life extra. That you can't.
Yeah,
There's no monetary replacement.
Yeah, but you theoretically think 7 years of life, but going from your body to my body, I don't believe there is a 7 years of life difference. In fact, I still think you have the edge.
Hey, our buddy Tony's a friend of yours. Maybe he can help you. Tony, Detroit, what up?
Hey, real quick. Hey, listen, Patrick, it must be the Great Lakes water. I got 3 kids. I'm 47. I still got a head of hair flowing, dude.
You know what? We got that good, fresh Great Lakes water.
It must be something from up here in the mitten, dude. You know what I'm saying? Because I should have been bald a long time ago with my 2 sons. I ain't lying. So, hey, I love it. I love when you guys just chop it up. I could care less when you talk about sports half the time. I love when you're doing this type of stuff. It's the best.
It's the best.
Hey,
dude, did you bet over the weekend? Because I got murdered.
I did okay. I bet Michigan both times. I thought they were underseeded. I really did. I was Fredo. I went against the family on Thursday and on Saturday. I took Michigan. And I'll be honest with you, St. John's cost me a monster. Dustin, a 7-legger. I had all the favorites Saturday, and I had BYU. I had 7 games, and St. John's was the one favorite that didn't win. And it really was and I loved St. John's. But Patrick,
So did I.
How about this for a Friday night coming up? We got Pistons Cavs at LCA at 7:10. You got MSU at 7:39 or something, and then you got Michigan at 9:40. I mean, the bars are going to be hopping when it's cold out, like my man GMAC Cat says. It's going to be hopping. It is. It's going to be bumping when it's cold out Friday night with these 3 games, man. I'm telling you.
Tony, you're the best. That Great Lakes water. He missed out on a 7-leg parlay because of freaking St. John's, and I love St. John's laying the 8.5. I couldn't have been more wrong.
It could be a 3-teamer, it could be a 5-teamer, it could be a 20-teamer. Your parlay will always miss by 1 leg.
The big guy. You know what? Send your love at VSiN Live on YouTube. Cheer my man up. He deserves it. He's a great guy. John Metler, also a great guy. Talking NBA next.
Covering the spread all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. live betting reaction to all of the night's action. You're tuned in to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
Hey, big guy, we're going to talk to our buddy John Metler about the association because nobody's paying attention while the NCAA tournament's going on. But during that 2-minute break, because Naya got you down bad, Goulet running the camera got you down bad, I thought about something to cheer you up, and it's a lock. It's going to cheer you up. I'll give you that in a little bit. You think I'm being facetious right now, bro? I'm your friend. I'm your compatriot, whatever that means. I work with you for a long time. I will cheer you up coming up later in the program. How's that sound?
I don't know, man. Propecia has a lot of side effects. I've looked into it.
We say hi to our buddy John Metler. By the way, just quickly want to let you know, because this is a great deal. You can become a VSiN Pro right now for $158. Remember, VSiN is on SiriusXM Channel 158. You get everything we offer. This is a deal you're not going to get again. So go to vsin.com/subscribe. You have to use the promo code SIRIUS, but you get $158 everything we offer. And Dustin is broadcasting live from the SiriusXM studios at the Wynn Casino and Spa, which is a beautiful setup. We're going to welcome in our buddy John Metler, Covers.com, NBA betting analyst, the pride of Ontario, Canada. John, have you been to Vegas, and if so, have you been to the Wynn?
I've been to Vegas. I don't think I've been inside the Wynn, but I do vividly remember the Wynn because I was there in the summer. It was when Canada was playing USA in basketball. I went to go watch. It was like 120 degrees. It was way too hot. And my wife made us walk from Mandalay Bay to the Wynn. There's like a restaurant down there, which was incredibly far, like way too far in 120-degree heat. I can tell you that for free. So I vividly remember the Wynn from that aspect because it was like the end point of our journey, and I complained the whole way.
Well, Mandalay Bay is at the south end of the strip. So if you're watching on TV, Mandalay Bay is across the street from where the Raiders play. And then the Wynn's almost at the far north end of the strip, right, big guy?
That's a mirage. That's literally a desert mirage where you think something's closer than it really is. And by the way, you're Canadian. You are not built to walk in the heat. I mean, no one is built to be outside in the heat here. Like, this is the first place, John, I ever lived in my life where in the summer I'm paler than I am the rest of the year. So I can't believe you did that. I go through 2 pairs of underwear a day in the summer in Vegas.
It was the whole time too, like because once we got there, I was like, it's like a $15 Uber back, and she's like, no, I want to walk back. And we get back to the room, or we get back down that way. It's like 30,000 steps. Like, it was like just an insane number.
No, look, people don't seriously. People say it's a dry heat. Listen,
my balls weren't dry. I can tell you that.
There is a stretch. July, August, and September in Vegas where it doesn't get below 110. And I don't care how dry it is. That's hot AF.
It's the Summer League week, that first week of Summer League where everyone comes out here. It's always that week because I'm always walking out of Thomas and Mack, literally like trying to take my clothes off in the parking lot to change into something dry.
I went to the Summer League, and we were out there, and there's just the guys doing like the parking. I'm like, how are you standing out here like just in the middle of the day? Like, I couldn't be outside for more than like 5 minutes. I think it also makes it 10 times worse because you walk into the casino and you get blasted by air conditioning, and then you step back outside and it's like 120 again. I found that tough.
Yeah, you think you got it bad. How about the girls that fly in from all over the country to hook up with an NBA player during Summer League, and they can't figure out what to wear? They're just
that's why they usually walk around naked the whole time.
Yeah, well, anyway, let's do this. So we thought it would be great to have you on, John, because nobody was paying attention to the association, well, obviously, while the tournament was happening. Let's start with a few things we missed over the last Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in the NBA.
I think the biggest one is Draymond Green's probably made a big move here on Defensive Player of the Year. Obviously, when Wembanyama goes out, that immediately moved that market. They didn't really know how to price it. I don't know what he was like a couple weeks ago. I know after he shut down Giannis that one night, he really locked him up. I think he had like 0 points in a quarter. I remember looking after the game, he was about 9-1. And then that he caught even more steam. Like he was saying, like, oh, I want to win. I like this is an award I would want. And then over the weekend, he moved the favorite. He's a minus money now to be the favorite there. Couple things with him is one, he needs to play 9 of the 11 games down the stretch here. Otherwise, he's not even eligible for the award. I feel like they make that happen because he's been adamant that he wants to win the award. I don't think they would just randomly sit him and he misses being eligible. I think you'd actually have to get injured for that to miss. I don't know if he is the favorite though. And it's just one of those markets where we don't even really know how you win it. And I know Evan Mobley's up there. I kind of feel like Evan Mobley falls into that like Bam out of bio category where I'm just not sure he would win. Like I'm just not sure he has like enough juice to get the votes. Dyson Daniels is very, very interesting just because from like a counting stats standpoint, he is like leading the league by far in steals. Like it's not even close. But I think to me the most interesting name, I think it's Lou Dort, and he's still like 30-1. He's the best defender on the best defensive team. That's usually who they award it to. I don't know. It's just an interesting market to keep an eye on down the stretch here. Draymond Green's now the favorite. That's happened over the weekend.
Yeah, John, I believe I saw 40 to 50-1, somewhere in that range, like a month ago on Draymond Green. So it's a crazy number. You mentioned Daniels. Daniels became, I believe, the favorite at one point a couple weeks ago. He's back up to 14-1. Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't he about to set some sort of steals record that we haven't seen since like John Stockton? How does he not win this award?
And that's what really gets me with this market too, is because it's not like he's just leading the NBA in steals. I think he's at like 3.1 and second is like 1.9. Like he's way ahead of everyone else. And the other thing too is like, I feel like you got to get a lot of credit for being one of the best defenders beside Trae Young. Like that is not an easy task. Like I know like it usually goes to the best defender on the best team, but like Lou Dort's surrounded by a lot of other good defenders. He does take the toughest assignment every night. His teammates say he's the one who should win it. So I think there's value in that. But like if you're Dyson Daniels playing defense on the Atlanta Hawks beside Trae Young, that is a really hard task every single night. And I truly do believe he's one of the reasons they'll be a playoff team or they're a play-in team right now, and they could make that push. I mean, they got the first overall pick last year. I think Dyson Daniels has a lot to do with that.
Yeah, that's a great layout about Draymond needing to hit the minimum on the games, because we were talking, remember a couple of years back, big guy, when Embiid was campaigning for the MVP, and essentially that helped him. John, Draymond is openly campaigning, and he's influential. And these are writers that are voting. Like, he is saying, I think I deserve. He's openly campaigning for the Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, like he's sitting there in press conferences, be like, Victor Wembanyama's out. I didn't think I had a chance to win this. I would like one more. Like, he's being very open about it. I think what really helps Lou Dort, though, is that his teammates are campaigning for him. And I think the confusion with the Thunder is there's lots of good defenders. Who would you even vote for? So if those Thunder players all come together and be like, I think it's Lou Dort, I think it's Lou Dort, and they kind of put that out into the media, I think that would really, really help the voters, because I think there'd be, your concern is they just kind of split votes with all the Thunder players and they don't really even know who to vote for. So in terms of like the betting side of things, I think Lou Dort is kind of the most interesting with the current price. This market flips so fast because there really is no exact science like who would win it. And I'll throw this one at you too. I was watching Clippers Thunder last night. They put up the best net ratings of any teams since they started keeping the stat. The Thunder were a little more than 1 point better in the net rating than the second best team since they've kept the stat, and the second best team was the 96-97 Bulls.
Good God.
Yeah.
That is a crazy number. Wow. Yeah, Lou Dort 50-1 right now in the market, Defensive Player of the Year. Based on what you're saying, this market could flip tomorrow, could flip in 2 days. I don't know about you guys. I have a weird time with big men in this award. Like for a while, I remember Brook Lopez got some hype, Jaren Jackson Jr. a few years ago. Obviously, Wemby's like a different category. But if we're going to talk about Defensive Player of the Year, doesn't what a perimeter defender do seem a lot harder than what some 7-foot guy like banging down low does?
In today's game, I think it does. I think you're, in order for a big to win it, you kind of need those Wembanyama stats, or like a Jaren Jackson Jr. when he went, where it's like he led the NBA in blocks. Like it's very clearly this is someone who's impacting a game, and there's not really someone like Evan Mobley's up there near the top, but like he's not leading the NBA in blocks. So that's why I keep gravitating back to Dyson Daniels, because it's like if I don't know who to vote for, it makes it a lot easier when I see someone at the top of the steals, because that's kind of how you could evaluate a guard. It's not necessarily the best way to evaluate them, but I know like EPM is like a very good analytical stat, and I think Draymond and Dyson Daniels are pretty much tied in defensive EPM. So he kind of has their. It's not like the metrics are both kind of equal, and then he has that steals thing on him as well. So I don't know, it's an interesting market.
Our buddy John Metler joining us, covers.com, NBA analyst. So the Bucks coming up in, like 50 minutes are at the Suns. All of a sudden the Suns are playing maybe their best ball. I know the Bucks don't have Lillard tonight, obviously no Portis. The Suns are laying 3. What's going on with the Suns right now?
Yeah, they on Friday they destroyed the Cleveland Cavaliers. It was a very impressive win. They started like their starting lineup was Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, then Colin Gillespie, Ryan Dunn, and Oso Ighodaro. And Ryan Dunn, Oso Ighodaro are 2 rookies. And I honestly was watching that and I was like, they might save this kind of Kevin Durant. I know they were kind of looking at going into the offseason. We got to move Durant. We don't really have another move to make. But then you watch that and you're like, if your 2 superstars are Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, you just really need the right role players around them. And like, those are, I mean, they're good role players. They're good. They're better defensive players than what they've been putting in the lineup. That's for sure. And then they beat the Cavs. So like imagine your role players. It wasn't like Oso Ighodaro's. I mean, he's playing good for them. But he's a second round pick in a draft that wasn't really even a great draft. So just imagine they actually went and got defensive players. And like I went and looked at that 5-man lineup. And that 5-man lineup, they played I think 3 games together. I was about like 30 minutes, so like really low sample size. But their net rating was plus 24. So and then you look at all the Bradley Beal lineups, and they're all like minus. So Beal also said he's more open to moving the offseason. I feel like they might save the Kevin. I don't think Kevin Durant will get dealt as. I feel like they might be able to save it.
Yeah, not Durant, Booker running the point. I mean, he's been a lot better than I think the Suns anticipated. Why they were hesitant doing that. He's played a lot better. But you mentioned they beat the Cavs. And we're in a crucial stretch of the season. The Cavs have been playing awesome as the 1 seed. They've lost 4 of their last 5. The one win was against Utah. And let's be real, if we just pick 2 people walking down the hall at the win, you, me, and Patrick might have a chance against this Jazz right now with the way that they're resting players. What have you noticed from the Cavaliers? What's gone wrong for them in the last week or so?
I think they're just more in cruise control. I think they know where they stand in the standings. They were 3 games in 4 nights. I mean, they lost the Clippers. That's a tough game. I think the Clippers are a really good team. I don't think that's a bad loss by any means going into the Intuit Dome and losing. And then I think the next night was Sacramento. Darius Garland sat out. I know Donovan Mitchell. I think they just ruled Donovan Mitchell out tomorrow. So they're kind of looking. I think they're looking a little more like they're the 1 seed. They're the best team in the Eastern Conference. I think they know that at this point in the season. I wouldn't be too worried about you're out in the West Coast. I think they're just trying not to stress out their team. They lost to the Magic. That the start of that was losing to the Magic. That was also very, very personal for the Magic because they lost in 7 games to them in the playoff series last year. So I wouldn't worry too much about the Cavs. I think they're just kind of getting ready for the playoffs here.
John, you also mentioned in your notes, I like this little comment, the Lakers dodged a bullet with Dan Hurley. Why do you say that?
Because I don't think he could coach in the NBA. Like I think he's a psycho. He's a really good coach, but his antics are over the top. Like the way he berates officials, it's never his fault. It's always the official's fault. There was like the one clip during the Florida game where like an assistant coach told him to shut up, or he told an assistant coach to shut up when he was trying to tell him something. Like, can you just imagine Dan Hurley coaching Luka Doncic on the Lakers right now, and like Doncic just reach and doesn't run back on defense? I don't think it would work like at all. I just don't think he has the personality to coach in the NBA. I think they were disappointed when they didn't get him. I think JJ Redick is 10 times the fit for the Lakers that Dan Hurley would have been.
By the way, the Lakers currently down 104-96 in Orlando to the Magic. And you know I've got issues, John, when I'm sweating out. I need 2 more points from Corey Joseph on the Orlando Magic. So you know you've got issues when you're going backup point guard for Orlando in a spot like this. But Lakers losing on the road, they got Rui back. They got LeBron back. I mean, how did they do without them in the lineup? Because honestly, I was not paying attention.
I was watching that game before I came on here. First of all, Corey Joseph, pride of Pickering, Ontario, a couple hours from me here.
There you go.
His team won the Ontario Championships when I was in high school, so they dominated everyone. But he's actually a perfect example, like what I was talking about with the Suns. So like Corey Joseph, he just gets randomly thrown in the starting lineup because of injuries, and all of a sudden it's working. Like their lineups are way more efficient with Franz Wagner and Paolo Banchero and Corey Joseph. So I think basketball, we always kind of get confused, like the Suns were really high on like just building a super team and bringing Bradley Beal, and they just didn't need it. They just need the right role players beside Durant and Booker. I think that's what Colin Gillespie is very similar to Corey Joseph. It's like he's just making the right plays beside the superstars he's with. I don't think I answered your question at all. You're asking me about Hachimura. What'd you ask me?
Yeah, it's all right. It was a good answer, though.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. I actually have a question about Houston. So they've won 9 of 10. They're 20 games above 500. They're second in the West overall. Oklahoma City, I've been telling Dustin, it's like one of the better teams I've watched in a long time. The help defense, SGA is better than I could have imagined. Like, they're just so good. The two bigs. But is Houston this year a legit contender, or does everything point to the future for them?
I think it's future. I think I'd be really nervous for their first round series. I don't know where the playoffs fall exactly. I know like maybe a couple days ago that 7-8 matchup was Wolves, Wolves Clippers, and that would probably be they'd face, that'd be the 7-2 would be Rockets either against Wolves or Clippers. I'd be nervous for them in that series. I think that'd be a tough series for them, whether it's the Clippers or the Wolves. I think both those teams are kind of surging right now. The Rockets are really good. I just think they kind of need more time to get this together. A lot of young guys. Amen Thompson is a stud. Like, that guy is an unbelievable basketball player, but I think they need a little more time. It's a great season for them. They're the 2 seed. I think they're ahead of schedule, but they just kind of need to keep that core together a little bit longer.
Is there a feisty team in the East? I'm not saying they're going to knock off Cleveland. They're going to knock off Boston at the top. Is there a feisty, young and up-and-coming team that if we get into a series that those two organizations should be scared of seeing?
Feisty, I guess I'll throw it to the Orlando Magic. I don't think they knock anyone off. I think they could be annoying just because they play such good defense. It's just like, I don't think you would want to face them. It's a lot of times you get into those playoff series and say like the 8 seed, it's like the Chicago Bulls, and you're like, oh, the defense isn't great. We'll just run right through them. It'll be a sweep, right? I think the Magic would be super annoying. They're just going to grind out every game. It's going to be in the 90s and the hundreds. They're not going to be fun to play against by any means. I think that would be the one team I wouldn't really want to see in a first round series. I think it'd be tougher than you'd want to be. And it also could just be a bad matchup. Like, they come in, at some points they have a team that's all 6'10", all 5 guys on the floor, and that could be a nightmare for some teams. So I think that's the one like kind of scrap team. I wouldn't expect them to win a series, but I actually, you know what? The Pistons against the Knicks would be.
Yeah, I want to ask you.
Oh no,
I want to ask.
So even on that level.
No, hold on. I want to ask John about that series. So Dustin's a Knicks fan, and I'm obviously a Pistons fan. The Knicks are going to be favored, obviously, but do the Pistons push that to 6 games? Let's start there.
Well, I think they could win. I think they could beat the Knicks. That would be, I mean, Little Caesars Arena would be absolutely rocking if the Pistons are hosting the Knicks in a playoff series. I could see them winning home games and stuff. The Pistons are just so, they have that like young energy of like a basketball team, and that can be very, very scary, especially in a building that hasn't hosted anything. I don't think they really I think they've hosted like one playoff series, but it wasn't really a real one. They got swept in that series. So this Cade Cunningham, like, who is shutting down Cade Cunningham? He is a stud. He's the first overall pick. They expected him. He's the max player they expected him to be. You have the shooting piece of like Malik Beasley and all these kind of other guys. They would be tough. The Knicks have to. I think we can ask Dustin about this one. I think the Knicks have to have a Tom Thibodeau discussion here pretty soon.
No. Well, we do, and the problem is, John, I do believe if they let Tom Thibodeau go and Jay Wright isn't the head coach of the Knicks next year, a guy you brought up earlier, Dan Hurley, who you believe cannot coach in the NBA, that might be the option for the Knicks, and that would terrify me. His personality with those stars and the way they play, I think that could blow up this whole thing. Who do you think the Knicks should turn to? Because I agree. If it falls short again with the way they committed with the players this year, you have to get a different head coach in there.
Yeah, I think the two things I've noticed with Tom Thibodeau that's kind of is, one, I don't think he's done the best job of putting together these 5. He has a very talented starting 5. It's not roster construction. I don't think he's done the best to make it work. The other side is the obvious, where you have to coach all 12 guys. It can't just be the 5 guys and we only play stars. It's your job to develop the bench, is to develop these other pieces. Like you're saying with the Thunder, Patrick, like, all of a sudden Jalen Williams, Chet Holmgren, all these guys are out and they just bring guys off the bench. The other Jalen Williams drops a triple-double, or Aaron Wiggins all of a sudden is moving like J-Dub. It's like, at some point you also need to develop these guys. I don't think Thibodeau can just sit there and be like, well, I don't have a bench. I think that's kind of does fall on him. who would I bring as a coach? Jay Wright would be the funniest. Like, we may as well just get the whole Villanova. Yeah. Bring back DiVincenzo. I feel like that losing DiVincenzo also stings quite a bit for them. I think that would kind of hurt morale quite a bit more than it probably gets credit for.
I totally agree. I mean, the trade was a net positive for them because Cat has been great, but he just isn't, like you said, it's almost like the lineup utilization just isn't there. It's weird. Did we get the Ryan Dunn play in, boys? Did we get that in for tonight with Phoenix over 8.5, John?
No, I can break that down though if you want.
Yeah, let's hear it.
So one player prop on the board here. I got Ryan Dunn over 8.5 points. So kind of it was playing what I was saying earlier. They've started to look to these young guys. If Mike Budenholzer doesn't play these young guys tonight, I think he should be fired on right there and then, because it is just a disgrace. They're playing really well. Ryan Dunn, he is over 8.5 points. He had a solid edge on this where you're looking at like 21, 22 minutes. There is a slight edge. I just really think he should be pushing more of that like 28 to 30, not just because of the new role and like how they were kind of utilizing him even against the Cavs, but he's also their best defender, and they're going to need someone to guard Giannis Antetokounmpo. And I really just don't know who else on the Suns roster could even match up with Giannis. So that should keep him on the floor. And I feel like at 8.5, you got to play the over.
Now, I know you started looking at tomorrow's numbers, and the Lions look like they're out for most games. We were just talking about the Knicks. They're laying 7.5 against Dallas, hosting them on a back-to-back for the Mavericks. They got AD back against the Nets tonight. What would you do with that one, Dallas and the Knicks?
Yeah, so when I was pricing that, AD's playing tonight. So I priced that, and with AD in, I had the Knicks -8. So I don't think he would go back-to-back off this injury. And he's on a minutes restriction tonight. I think he's just 28 minutes. So if you pull him out, like that 7.5 looks way better than so like worst case scenario, I was thinking Knicks -8. It's sitting 7.5. I don't think he plays. I was actually watching. I had Nets Mavericks on my screen. I was just hoping to hear something on the broadcast before I came on air here about what their plan is. I'm assuming he's out. So I think you could play that worst case scenario. You're probably like your edge is about like break even, but I feel like he's probably not playing. So I think I lean Knicks there.
I'd be shocked if AD first game back goes back to back. They're like, that would be malpractice.
And the Mavericks also do this thing, like once they pull one guy, they kind of pull some other guys too. So I wouldn't be surprised if AD sits, and then maybe PJ Washington sits, or I don't know, just some random guy sit.
If AD got hurt because he played on a back-to-back after being out for weeks, they'd have some splaining to do. There's no doubt. All right, John, appreciate it. That's perfect. That's exactly what we needed. We've been watching college hoops. And that's a breakdown. I like the Dan Hurley thing. Dan Hurley as an NBA coach is an impossibility.
No.
Like, if he went to the Knicks, he and Josh Hart would end up fighting. Like, these are grown men that make more than the coaches. They're not going to listen to a psychopath that's screaming with an ego. There's just no way. Anyway, Covers.com, NBA betting analyst, at John Metler on Twitter. He is John Metler, the pride of Ontario. Thanks, John. Appreciate you.
Good luck with your bets.
All right. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate that. All right. So a couple of things. One, all we were doing here on VSiN Live is we were trying to give everybody on YouTube paying attention at VSiN Live a good look at the SiriusXM studios at the Wynn. For me, it's one of my favorite properties, and I started working at SiriusXM in 2005, and it is so luxurious. The attention to detail is insane. It's just a gorgeous studio, literally right there in the middle of a casino. And the Wynn might be the nicest property in Vegas. So and there's a good look as they pull back panorama with the big guy in the middle. He gets uncomfortable and he feels like he has to wave.
I do it every time.
I know. I don't know why you do that. It's weird. But we did go to the shot of the Wynn where you could look out the glass, and maybe, boys, we can. So we went to that shot. And you could see a Van Gogh up in the background. I mean, it's gorgeous. People walking by, call her daddy. You know what I'm saying? And so the big guy got done dirty because that's also a bald cam, as you can see. Unfortunately, the big guy, I mean, he is 40. He's a man. And, the testosterone, I don't know. Maybe it's working overtime or undertime, whatever that means.
I don't think there's enough of it.
When you lose hair follicles. So I started to feel bad. So I wrote down a few reasons why you should feel good about yourself. Are you ready? Because the bald spot is popping. I'm not going to lie. And I started to feel bad because all I do is mess with the big guy because it makes the show fun. But sometimes I got to reel it in because you just realize that a human being's going through it.
It gets real. It gets real. Look, there's a lot of aspects in my life that I find are easy to make fun of. Like, you want to make fun of my weight. You want to make fun of my bets. Like, I'm very easygoing. This, on the top of my head, it triggers me and makes me emotional because it is something I cannot control. He
thinks about it a lot. Like, we went out to dinner and he brought it up. We were talking about literally like family, and he's like, anyway, how about the lettuce? Should I go to Turkey? So I wrote down a few reasons why you should feel awesome about yourself. Reason number 1 for the big guy. For a large human, he has an amazing lung capacity, cardio-wise. Like, when he gets a personal trainer, they always tell him, you are capable of a lot more than people that are in pristine shape doing like marathons. Like, his lung capacity is on another level. Cardio-wise, for a guy that was almost close to 4 bills, you have amazing lung capacity.
It's a good one. Unfortunately, what also goes with that is a heart that doesn't work as well as my lungs do at times. So
see, you don't have when I compliment you, you don't have to put yourself down. Okay?
Oh no, this is scientific fact. I'm just going scientific fact on you.
All right. So I also wrote down this. A few years back, I looked at you one day and I said, "What are you tipping the scales at?" And I think you said 397.
392.
My bad. 392.
Big
and
difference.
then I said, all right, because you were just a producer at the time, I said, I'm taking away your mic until you get, because I pretty much thought you were going to die.
Yeah.
Because at that point you were taking weeks off because your heart stopped working. It's not great when somebody's heart doesn't work.
Sure.
So I wrote down this. Even at 400 pounds, you had a great face. Like, I'm talking chiseled like Ryan Gosling face. Like, that is a hard thing to pull off. To be generally, when people weigh 400 pounds, you see jowls, you see just sloppy ass cheeks, but you got a great face for a 400-pound man at the time. That's a good thing.
I'm not going to argue with that one. It's something I strongly believed in. No matter my weight, my face does always look good. Now that you're talking about it, though, it's a lot of face because it's a lot of head. I have a big head. Is there any chance maybe if I lose more weight, my head gets smaller, the hair looks more spread out on the top of my head?
Yeah, I don't know about that, but here's the thing that's hard to like Dustin about, because people think I'm a dick because on the air I am, but off the air I'm actually a nice guy. And I said to the big guy and his girlfriend when when he was stressing out about his hair when we went to dinner, I said, it doesn't matter what his hair looks like. He's got a tremendous face. And you know what Dustin said? I do.
Yeah, no, I definitely do. I know I do.
He's so cocky. It's unbelievable. It's incredible. But anyway,
I am self-aware. I know my shortcomings, but I also know my strength. It's like evaluating a draft prospect. You got to know what round you're supposed to go in.
All right, Dustin got hit with the bald cam at the Win SiriusXM Studios. So I wrote down another reason you should feel good about yourself. You don't have a good. You have an elite beard. Your beard game is ridiculous.
I will say God did bless me there, because it is one physical attribute that I do have over you, Patrick, is that I can grow a legit
I got a
beard.
patchy-ass beard. Look at that beard. They just zoomed. That's a perfect shot. That beard is elite, people. Full.
Yeah, it's a good beard.
It's a great beard.
Now, the only unfortunate part about the beard is it does cover what is a great face. That's the only unfortunate part about the beard. I can grow such a good beard, it covers a lot of a great face.
All right, so far, why Dustin should feel good about himself. Lung capacity off the charts. 400 pounds, still looked like Ryan Gosling in the face. He has an elite beard. Another reason, I wrote down you own your own car.
I do. I do own a car.
I've never owned a car in my life. I've only leased. To say you own your own car, that's pretty impressive.
We're really stretching. What's next? None of my underwear have holes in them? Is that what's next? Because as of 3 weeks ago, I still had ones with holes in them.
Hey, you are a car owner. We just admit I'm closer to 50 than 40, 47. Yeah. I've never owned a car. I've never even owned anything.
That's
I rent a house. I rent everything.
I just started a savings account for the first time like a month ago, so that kind of goes with the car thing. Cars only.
All right. Another reason that you should feel good about yourself, even though you just got hit with the bald cam, I wrote down, you're really mean to your family, but they still treat you like royalty.
Yeah, no, I am the chosen one in my family. That is one thing I do have going for me. If I say do something, everything drops for me. And it's definitely caused fights where my brother and sister are on a group text without me to complain that no matter what I want, it gets done, and what they want never gets done. So, yeah, there's something to that.
All right. Another reason you should feel good about yourself. When did I introduce you to betting? 2017?
Yeah, 2017.
And you moved to Vegas, and there's sharps, there's professional bettors, and you are consistently at the top of the leaderboard over at VSiN.com/picks. Quick learner and very talented. Congratulations.
It's gotten me a lot in life. I would tell you that. Being at the top of the leaderboard has led to and opened the doors that I wanted to open. So, yeah, you're right. That's you. You taught me a new way, because certainly based on the experience I had at SiriusXM previously, and based on that sentence, they were not putting me on the air. But
well, speaking of which, who cares? Let me talk. Speaking of which, I mean, seriously, you got to zip it. Speaking of which, outside of owning your own car and being always at the top of the leaderboard, you did the impossible in our industry. You flipped being a donk producer into being a host.
Am I allowed to talk now?
Yeah, that's hard to do. You should go ahead.
It was an uphill battle. And honestly, if you told me go from producer to host or get hair to cover my bald spot, I would say going producer to host is actually harder.
Correct. And I only got two more. I could think about it more, but anyway, I simply wrote down, like, because people don't like, when I lived in Vegas, nobody wanted to hang out with me. Nobody liked me. I said, people like you and want you around. That's a great quality. People like you.
Yeah, but I think there's a misconception that I'm more like them and want to be social all the time, where I'm more like you and I kind of want to keep to myself. I do thrive once I get out and like hang out with people, but I mostly like to just hang out by myself and watch TV.
And finally, reason, even though that is a jarring, alarming, repulsive bald spot, if we're being honest, the reason, outside of owning your own car and lung capacity, the reason you should feel good about yourself, he's told me like 20 years ago he had a girlfriend. I genuinely don't believe he's literally, I don't think he's ever had a girlfriend.
That's a lie.
Okay, when was your last girlfriend?
2010.
Fair enough. 25 years ago, you had a girlfriend.
It was 15, but okay. Yeah, look, this
is going to be positive, Dustin. Just chill.
Yeah.
You legitimately have a girlfriend that legitimately loves you, and she's hot.
Yeah, and you know
what that is 10 times better than any bald spot.
Yeah, well, you know what she texted me today? Don't worry, I love you, bald.
And that's a perfect way to wrap the segment. Yes, the back of your head looks appalling. Looks almost scarily deranged. I gasped when I saw it. But the bottom line is, not only do you own a Kia, your hot girlfriend genuinely likes you for you. Because you work in radio, so you don't make any money. So we know it's true love. Speaking of the big guy, he loves baseball. And when we come back, we're talking NL Central. It's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. Welcome back to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Maher and Dustin Swedelson.
Hey, that's a bop, Naya.
Should we start making up lyrics to these generic songs that we have to use now because we're on YouTube? I feel like I should just start making up lyrics for all of these.
That was a bop. Yeah, we have to play generic rejoins because YouTube gets pissed. However, you shouldn't be pissed because you can see the big guy and myself over at VSiN Live on YouTube as we welcome you back. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. So, hey, I got a trivia question for all of you. Did you know MLB opening day is Wednesday? I know the answer is negative. America's pastime. It's fantastic. However, we are going through every division to get you prepared, and tonight it's the NL Central with the core four and the big guy. Let's start at the bottom. Who you got?
So at the bottom, 7-1 to win this division is the Pittsburgh Pirates. And are they going to be better than we're used to? Yeah, probably because of the pitching, because of Paul Skeens, your favorite for National League Cy Young. But they won 76 games last year where they overachieved. Their win total 77.5. Their additions this offseason were Tommy Pham, Adam Frazier, Andrew Haney, and a bunch of relievers. Don't expect too much out of this group. The lineup is still horrendous. My lean would be to bet the over, but good God, it's going to be tough getting there with that offense. We move on from the Pittsburgh Pirates. So as we look up the board, the trendy team in this division that everyone loves, Patrick, is the Chicago Cubs. They're your favorite to win, plus 125, 85.5 wins, 15-1 to win the pennant, 30-1 to win the World Series. Why does that matter? At 30-1, they are the last division represented on the World Series board. That's what the market thinks of the NL Central. So when you look at the Cubs, they added a lot of pieces in the offseason. Kyle Tucker, Justin Turner, John Birdie, Matthew Boyd, Colin Ray, Ryan Presley, and a ton of arms in that bullpen. What they lost, Cody Bellinger, Isaac Paredes, Kyle Hendricks a year ago. So I think the Cubs are a little overrated. The lineup is reliant on a lot of young guys that I'm not sure as good as the projections anticipate them being. And I think that their starting rotation outside of Justin Steele is just not reliable enough. So you have Steele up front, but then Jamison Taillon, Javier Assad, I don't like those guys as go-to pitchers. I much prefer the two teams priced in the middle of this division to be contenders here. Another team.
Hold on, you're down on the Cubs, but people love the Cubs, right? This year.
Yeah, people are high on them because they made a lot of moves. That doesn't always work in baseball. It's also year 2 of Craig Counsell. How did that pan out in year 1 of Craig Counsell? I'm not sure the juice is worth the squeeze with the Cubs at such a short price to win a division where I do think there are up-and-coming teams. I should also
hold on, real quick. Remember how I started this segment with a trivia question? When's opening day? Wednesday? Yeah. John just texted us. I was just joking. Everybody knows Major League Baseball opening day is on Thursday.
Is it Thursday? I thought it was Wednesday.
Dustin told me it was Wednesday, and I didn't even check.
No, I initially thought it was Thursday, but I thought when I opened ESPN, I saw Wednesday.
You don't have to make excuses right now. Yeah. I'm covering for you.
Right. No, you're right. It is Thursday. Yeah.
You told me earlier today it was Wednesday, and I just believed you.
Because when I opened ESPN.com, I did think it was Thursday, and I clicked it, and it was on Wednesday. But then you look down the schedule.
Hey, Bill Belichick, there's no reason to get defensive. We're just being factual. Opening day is Thursday.
And
see, now he's mad at me. I don't know why. He has this ego about needing to be right. It's literally one day. Let it go. Who cares?
No, it proves the point.
That's
proves
right.
the point.
It does prove the point. That nobody cares about baseball, even people that get paid to talk about it.
I'm still wrong, but I'm still going to think about it all night that I messed it up, so don't worry about it.
You better go thank John before you say goodbye, Goulet over there, because he just helped us.
Used to be my boss, still ruining my life. Interesting. Sonny Gray, Eric Fetty. Sonny Gray, Eric Fetty, Andre Palante, Miles Michaelis, Matthew Liberatore. That is the rotation of the St. Louis Cardinals. I don't think this team is worth discussing. I think the run for the Cardinals is completely over. I think that this lineup is atrocious. They no longer develop prospects like they used to. They don't have superstars. The St. Louis Cardinals being the third price division in the NL Central is offensive to me because I think there are two teams in this group that are so far and away better than them.
All right, give me your second place finisher in the NL Central.
I hate saying this because I think this is the model organization when it comes to baseball, working out of a small market, and that's the Milwaukee Brewers. Win totals 83.5. They won 93 last year. I would bet the over on them to go over that. They traded Devin Williams, acquired Nestor Cortez, added some depth to the starting rotation. Not a lot of sexy names. They don't spend a lot of money, but they develop their own players. Guys like Garrett Mitchell are going to get more at-bats this year. Sal Frelick, Joey Ortiz, who they traded for in the Corbin Burns deal, is going to take over at shortstop. So while they'll miss Willie Adames and what he brought to the table, this is a team from an analytical perspective that is always ahead of everyone. And under Pat Murphy last year, they had the third best run differential in baseball behind the Dodgers and the Yankees. They didn't spend nearly the amount of money. They did not have the power in that those lineups had, but yet this team always produces. And I think Jackson Chourio is a guy who's going to blow up. At age 20, hit 275, went 20-20 with 79 RBI and 80 runs scored. There's no reason to think this guy isn't going to continue to get better and be an MVP candidate. I really like the Brewers, but if I'm placing a bet in this division, it's the Cincinnati Reds to win it. They're plus 650. Their win total 78.5. 90-1 on the World Series, 50-1 on the pennant. They added a piece that I think puts them over the top that you can't quantify, and that's a legit manager in Terry Francona. Terry Francona has turned multiple organizations around. He's won World Series. And things didn't work in Cleveland because Cleveland wasn't giving him the studs he needed. They kept taking pieces away. They also went out and got Gavin Lux and Austin Hayes. 1-9, it's going to be a very solid lineup. Ellie De La Cruz should contend for the MVP in the National League. 25 homers, 67 steals last year. I mean, he finished 8th in voting a year ago. Plays in that bandbox. I think the power's going to be back. They get a guy like Matt McClain back who missed the whole year with injury. But more importantly, when you look at this Reds team, Hunter Green became an ace a year ago. Nick Lodolo and Andrew Abbott both have stuff capable of being number 2s and number 3s. I just love what they've done with the bullpen. Alexis Diaz is going to start the year on the IL, but he's their closer. They brought in Taylor Rogers, Scott Barlow, Emilio Pagan, and they move a live arm like Graham Ashcraft to the bullpen. I think the Reds, if you're looking for an upside play, that is the team you look at. I love the Cincinnati Reds, plus 650 to win the NL Central.
All right, exact order from the big guy in the Central. He's got the basement dwellers, the Pittsburgh Pirates. You'd like to see Skeens on a team that matters, but it's not going to be this year. He's got the Cubs. Some people bullish. The big guy says, nah, I'm bearish on the Cubbies. Next up, he's got the Cards, the Redbirds. Get the hell out of town. Milwaukee likes them. Do it for Bob Uecker. And then Cincinnati winning the Central.
Here's your core 4 bets. Reds win the Central plus 650. Hunter Green, National League Cy Young, 22-1. Ellie De La Cruz, NL MVP, 15-1. You're basically hoping that Ohtani gets hurt. And then the last one, the number's too big based on the production that's going to happen. Jackson Chourio, NL MVP, 35-1. He may go 40-40.
Hey, what is Skeen's number for Cy?
I want to say it's like 2-1. Let me pull that up real quick.
It's so short.
It's it's laughably short. Let's see. Awards, Cy Young. He is 3-1. 3-1.
So that's not shorter than Skubal.
Skubal is plus 380. It is.
Wow. Those are the two shortest in each league, though, right?
Oh, yeah. After Skeens, we do a massive jump in the National League, plus 750 to Zach Wheeler. In the American League, from plus 380 on Skubal to plus 450 on Garrett Crochet.
I'm going to tell you, this is going to make you bitter because you like the Instagram stuff, so I apologize in advance. There's no comparison between Skubal and Skeens. Skubal's better.
He's more refined, I would say. He's able to consistently pitch deeper into games, but I also think Pittsburgh may not have let Skeens pitch deep into games last year. Pure stuff. Skubal stuff is electric.
As a lefty, dude, he is. His stuff, honestly, it is surprisingly, shockingly good when you watch him consistently.
Yes.
Now, again, I'm not saying there's no argument. But Skeens gets the hype. Skubal, I think, you could argue, is better.
I would say Skeens is more of like a heavier looking ball, whereas Skubal is more electric. That's
Skubal's throwing 100 miles an hour as a lefty.
Yeah. It feels like you can hear the ball go by when Skubal throws it.
He does not miss.
I wanted to dismiss this, but I think you may be right.
I'm just saying right now, if I had a pitcher this year in a big spot, I'll take Skubal. Maybe in a couple of years, I'll take Skeens. It's just to illustrate that Skeens is the bigger name, obviously, but Skubal he's legit. When we come back, that's a good job by the big guy with Core 4, NL Central. When we come back, we'll close tabs. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
off and was screaming at everybody when they lost yesterday. The NCAA and Raleigh police have launched an investigation into UConn's athletic department per source. Following the Huskies' loss to Florida, Dan Hurley went on an expletive-filled rant that was caught on video by a member of the media. UConn's director of men's basketball communications, Bobby Mullen, then demanded the deletion of the video and threatened the reporter by saying that he'd ruin his life. I'm told the credible reporter saying the NCAA is considering a possible postseason ban and loss of scholarship spots. Local law enforcement is also investigating the matter as making threats is illegal in North Carolina. People get bitter at me when I talk about the Hurleys. This Dan Hurley's a psychopath.
Yeah, I saw the argument for all this stuff happening and being released was like the reporter wasn't supposed to be in that area. Well, he was, and he saw it, and he heard it, so deal with it. Like, you don't get to control who videotapes things where and when in 2025. Sorry. So I agree. Dan Hurley's in a lot of trouble if this stuff is true. Good God.
that'll be a bigger story as it's developing. That'll be a huge story tomorrow. By the way, John brought up a great point. And it's Rob Manfred, who we killed for years on Mad Dog Sports Radio, even though he's friends with Dog. Manfred and Major League Baseball, their opening day is Thursday, not Wednesday. Good planning. Thursday is the first round of the Sweet 16. So baseball, with an open day, decided to go up against college basketball in the Sweet 16.
They love an uphill battle to keep America's pastime relevant. They don't ever want to make it easy for themselves. Well, technically, what Rob would tell you if he was doing this interview, but he won't. He'll go on with Dog at some point this week. He would tell you, well, we already had opening day, and it was in Japan, and it was the Dodgers and the Cubs. That was our real opening day. Those games counted. They mattered, even though no one watched.
No, it's stupid. It's idiotic. Whatever. All right, close tabs. What do you got?
Well, when we left Friday's show, you were a wreck because you needed to get home and see your dog. You were concerned about her. We did not get an update on Jeezy, what it was like when you reunited and saw her on Saturday morning and saved her from that woman that was not happy with the way that you have treated your dog.
Yeah, the lady, when I picked her up, I think she knew that she wasn't being cool, so she was being overly kind. I will say, and I'm not being dramatic, Jeezy was having hysterical shaking fits all night and couldn't sleep through the night. So it was a rough Saturday night when I got home. Like, she would not stop shaking. So I'm not saying the people did anything to her. I'm just saying the dog is sensitive and her nervous system was out of whack.
Yeah, and maybe she was like, well, he's back, but maybe he's going to abandon me again. I just think you can't ever leave her. You just can't ever leave her now.
I know. You know what? She's got me trapped.
Yeah, no, look. It benefits both parties for being fair because you were kind of low-key shaking the whole night here while you were sitting at the Win doing the show. So, I mean, you both were acting accordingly.
Yeah, but I was shaking because I didn't have any zins.
Fair. How quick did you get a zin in your mouth when the show ended on Friday?
10 minutes, 6 seconds after I left.
All right, closing tabs real quick. 20th anniversary of The Office. Also, George Foreman died over the weekend, which combines from one of my favorite episodes of The Office called The Injury, where Michael Scott burns his foot on a George Foreman grill in his bed. That is a dream that I'd like to live. And it was the moment that made me fall in love with the show The Office. And if you don't watch it, you've never watched it, you better. Dwight Schrute crashes his car, gets a concussion, throws up everywhere. I didn't explain it well. It's one of my favorite TV moments.
That was incredible, big guy. That was a tour de force. I love you, man. Naya, thank you. Ryan, thank you. The crew at the SiriusXM studios at the Win, thank you. The big guy will be back tomorrow. We'll see you.
Covering the spread all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio.